welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second broadcast of the night. Welcome to OSC King of the Hill weekly number 145. I'm, of course, your host, Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by my lovely and beautiful plushies as well. Welcome, welcome. Fala galera. Bienvenidos todos, bienvenidos. We're going to be kicking things off with quite a spicy matchup. Originally, we were going to be kicking things off with Wayne reprising his role, but Wayne is absent and he has been replaced by another European Zerg player. But before we get to him, we have our challenger spawning in the top left-hand corner of Aggress Farm. We have the Polish, oh my god, we have the Polish Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Teal Zerg player. At times, he's a Polish Protoss player as well, but here he is a Teal Zerg player from the land of the United Kingdom. From England, it is Iba. For the Platinum Heroes, he is here. And again, it is a shame not to get some more Wayne action. I'm sure we'll be seeing some Wayne later on in the evening. If he does show himself, then he will be joining the tournaments. He'll be joining the cast. To look forward to that. But for now, we have these two fresh players. If you're unfamiliar with OSC King of the Hill, you may be wondering, what is the format? Did he forget to change the UI? Best of one. Is that real? Yes, yes it is. This is a best of one format tournament. 15 players step into the ring, one at a time. And the winner stays on, the loser gets eliminated from the entire tournament. You have one chance, or you have one life, I should say. And you keep facing off, one after another. If you win a game, you earn money. If you lose, you don't earn anything. That's how it works. That is how it works. Oh boy, so yeah, honestly it's a lot of fun. It's a format you don't see too often. Shout out to Total Biscuit. Back in the day, he used to host the Shoutcraft Kings, Shoutcraft King of the Hill back in the day, and this is kind of in a similar vein to that, with just constant back-to-back best of ones over and over and over again. Last week, Wayne was the reigning King of the Hill, and he was given the opportunity to reprise his role here in game number 1 of this week's tournament, but alas, he is not here for the time being. I'm sure he'll be joining us later on in the tournament. Until then, we do have these lovely two Zerg and Protoss players, and for the time being, everything is looking quite standard. We do have a Stargate opener coming out from MaNa, as to be expected. Has been a little bit annoying with this probe, has been tasing, has been a bit of a nuisance, but he is being forced away. Iba, he takes control of his natural, of his main, of his would-be third base. Link speed is on the way, and we have pulled out a gas. So again, everything is looking as it should here between these two players. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild, other than the fact that, of course, Iba is not playing Protoss. He's crazy. He's wild like that. He is playing Zerg, and the Adept has rocked up here so far. Good control out of Eva, preserving his workers. The Queen is going to be able to shoot that away. The Adept can, of course, shade in between the bases and take control of this area, making it a little bit difficult, making it awkward to Maynard our drones over and saturate the natural base. Second Adept has shown up. Two links have gone down. A lot of lost mine time already here for Iba. Ooh, a little bit of miscontrol as the drones do take quite some time to get back to mining. The Adepts continue to threaten it between the bases. We have 6 links on the way. Link speed is about to kick in. With link speed, we can dive on the Adepts, and oh, the first 2 are still alive. They're looking for damage. They get a drone. They almost get a Ling as well. And it looks like they're finally going to be cleaned up. Quite a lot of damage was done. One drone, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of lost mining time. We saw a lot of drones being pulled, a lot of drones being maneuvered away from those minerals, so damage was done nonetheless, so decent start here from MaNa. He also scouted, he confirmed that there was no additional gases being taken, he confirmed that really nothing else was coming out from Iba, nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Thankfully for Iba, the first 2 oracles do stay back at home to preserve and to maintain the third base. Third is going to get up and running. Lings, they poke and prod. They confirm both oracles are coming across the map. Iba is in position with 3 queens at his third base. 3 queens should be more than enough to protect this mineral line. The oracles are looking to dive on in. Oh, 2 queens. They move off of creep for a moment, but it looks like we're able to keep up. We have a spore on the way, but a spore is a little bit too late. Drones are going down. 3, 4 workers in total. The spore finishes up after the damage has been done. And it's not over. MaNa, he still has these 2 oracle slots. Plenty of HP. He dips in, get a 5th, 6th, 7th. Oh. This is becoming a bit too much. 7 drones go down. The oracles are still alive. A +1 melee is on the way, as to be expected. But MaNa has taken a worker lead. Or he has taken an economic lead, I should say. Oof. As he does dip in, he gets even more drone damage done. You can see the oracles threaten the 3rd base, but doesn't quite go for it yet. Behind this, we're going for +1. We're going for charge. We're not going for +1 blink stalkers. Interesting. Charge also being banked up back at home. This can hit a very powerful timing here. Once the robo is done, we can get into a warp prism. We can head towards a Templar archive, and head towards Archon production as well. We'll see if that's where we go. For now, Eba is poking, prodding. It looks like he doesn't catch an adept. Is within range of the shield battery. Lings are forced back, and Eba is just attempting to drone up and saturate his 3 bases as best he can. Charge is about to kick in. There's that Temple Archives we were talking about. As soon as it's done, we're gonna be able to warp in Archons on the front lines as well. This is gonna be a very powerful timing for MaNa, and Eba is not ready for it. Eba is still re-droning. We have a couple of spine crawlers on the way. We have a lot of queens. Roaches are still on the horizon. Roach Warren just now finishes up, and the Zealots have arrived. They are here. This base is going to be cancelled. Again, Eba just isn't ready for this. We have 13 roaches on the way, but Eba needs time. Good target firing. Both of the oracles do go down. Spine crawlers are... well, the first one does barely finish up. But drones are falling. The Lings get annihilated. The roaches have arrived. And with these roaches, Eba should be able to defend. He should be able to hold on. But how many more losses is he going to sustain? 5 drones in total. That could have been a lot worse. Ooh, pretty impressive that Eba was able to minimize his losses. We're going for a Spire behind this. We have Roach Speed on the way, and we're retaking the 4th towards the south instead. Eba survives, but he's still behind in the economy. Still has a lot of droning to do, a lot of droning to catch up on. The 4th base is on par with MaNa, which is not what the Zerg player wants to be, or not where they want to be. Archons on the way, Disruptors as well. MaNa's army is just being more and more refined. Bearing in mind that as well, with that attack, MaNa, he threw away Zealots. Only minerals. Only minerals. I guess his oracles as well. But really only lost minerals in that attack. Is able to just maintain control of his own economy. Now saturating his next base. Is going to be spotted by this Changeling. As the Overseer goes in to just get confirmation on what is being built. Making sure there's no transition into Skytoss. And Eba, he even checks and he confirms the position here of this 3rd base. There's not much that Eba can really do to this 3rd. And back at home, Eba has been able to drone up to 74. A respectable worker count, to be fair. Still not where he wants to be, though. As he's working on his 5th base, spreading out his creep, he has some time to breathe. But as he's breathing, this army is still getting terrifying. Oh, we have Phoenix production on the way. We have a 2nd Stargate as well. So it looks like we are kind of getting ready for a Skytoss transition. No fleet beacon, but with this Phoenix production, we do have quite a lot to support this army. There it is. The fleet beacon is on the way. Prism is headed towards the main base of Eba. Now, the Spire, I believe, has gone unscouted this entire time. Quickly checking the vision. The Spire was scouted, which explains the Phoenixes, of course. We have 15 meters on the way. Of course, with these meters, we can shut down the Prism. We have to make a choice. Oh, the meters, they are spotted by the Observer. And this does tell MaNa to just continue Phoenix production. He has confirmation. He sees everything. Server finally goes down. The Mutas, they've got a lot of work to do. This was a big investment here for Eba. He needs to make them worth his time, worth his while. As they dip in between the bases, Phoenixes are already in position. Zealots are going to be intercepted by these roaches, and the Mutas will be able to clean this up. We have Annual Pulse Crystals on the way. That's, of course, Phoenix range to help support them against these Mutas. Likewise, Phoenixes move towards the south. MaNa is expecting Eba to rotate towards the southern portion of the map. Instead, Eba goes straight for the main. He's going to catch some Stalkers. 2 Stalkers go down. A shield battery, good contamination onto the Stargate. But the Phoenixes have arrived. Ugh. With the overcharge, the Phoenixes are going to stand strong against these Mutas. They are being forced back at home. We're investing into Corruptors to help kind of be an anchor point against these Phoenixes. But a lot of these Mutas are going down. Oof. As the Mutas do get bullied back to these Queens. The Queens are going to be able to stand strong against the Phoenixes at least a little bit longer. Going to be able to force them back. But looking at the Unisols tab, that was 11. 11 Mutas went down for 2 Stalkers and a shield battery, essentially. So not the best trade for Eba. We see him kind of transitioning into a more of a ground-based army. He still has 17 Mutas, to be fair. That is a lot of Mutas. And again, they still haven't paid for themselves yet. But we're looking for it. We're looking for some damage. Oh. Well, we're going to get a Phoenix. Not too bad. A Phoenix for 2 Mutas and Corruptors. They do stand strong. Another Phoenix is going to go down. Again, great use of these Corruptors. Using them as an anchor point to help buffer, soak some damage, and have some staying power against the Phoenixes. But what about the ground army? Ground army is pushing in. Good melee connections on the Zealots. The Queens are going down. We have Roaches, but I believe we don't have any Ravagers to speak of. Instead, it looks like Eba is attempting to rush into a Greater Spire. Greater Spire is on the way. Hive is done. It is honestly a really good way to deal with this ground army, but I don't think MaNa's going to give him time. MaNa's maxed. As much as Broodlords would be amazing in this position, Eba doesn't have the time to morph in Broodlords. We have the ground army pushing in. Eba trying to get in position. But he doesn't really have an answer to all these Archons. Has no answer. MaNa's pushing on in. Good storm. Bailey's they coming from behind. Big storms on the Roaches. The Prism goes down. A massive snipe on that Prism. And Eba, can he barely hold on? There are 3 Archons left. The Archon getting into the mineral line.
Game paused.
Oh, as we get a bit of a pause. A pause in the middle of the fight is not what we want to be seeing, but hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully everything's as it should be. It looks like maybe MaNa's Uber Eats has arrived. Bit of a knock on the door. What is MaNa eating? That's a question. Maybe a kebab? Maybe some pierogies? Regardless, hopefully everything's okay. Whether it's food, whether it's something coming up. Maybe a cat jumping on the keyboard. It happens. It happens. I've seen it happen before with other players. We are getting back into this. Issue has been resolved. Eba barely holds on with 1 Roach remaining. Reinforcements come in. Eba loses 8 workers, but he survives that massive Archon counterattack. And MaNa's not slowing down. Eba, he needs the Broodlords. He needs the Broodlords now. And he just doesn't have the money. He can 2 Broodlords is all he has the money for. We have a 3rd Broodlord on the way. The 2nd wave is coming. This wave is a little bit weaker. There are no Archons this time. Only gateway units. Banelings are rolling on in. They're looking for those connections with the Zealots. They do find them. The Zealots go down. And even without the Broodlords, Eba holds. He takes down the Zealots, he takes down the Stalkers. Broodlords have arrived, and MaNa's unaware. MaNa, he hasn't scouted this transition. He didn't see the tech. He didn't see the Broodlords as they were morphing in either. Otherwise, I'm sure we would see more of a SkyToss transition into Carriers, into Tempests, into Void Rays. For the time being, MaNa is sticking with a ground-based army. Eba barely holding on. He could do with some more workers, and then we got 5 more drones are on the way. The Broodlord count's getting higher. Now, we have a delicate dance here. There are still Phoenixes, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we still have a couple of Phoenixes. They're sharking around. We don't want to morph in too many Broodlords because we want some anti-air for these Phoenixes. No! The Broodlords, they reveal themselves. Sorry. I blew myself out. No, the Broodlords are going down. I'll check my gain. I think my gain is a little bit too high. Yeah. I'll keep the mic away. Broodlords have been revealed. Carriers are on the way. How many Broodlords went down? I was a little bit distracted. 1 Broodlord went down. And, yeah, the SkyToss is upon us. And now, the turns have tabled. Now, suddenly, Eba has to prepare for said SkyToss army. I mean, he's aware of the tech. He should be aware of the transition that is imminent. There we go. We have Vipers on the way. Continued Corruptor production. We are going to the late game. Looking at our units, we have 7 Broodlords. 7 Broodlords, 5 Corruptors, but we're working on the Corruptor count, of course. We're going to have a Broodlord Corruptor Infestor. Sorry, Broodlord Corruptor Viper. No Infestors yet, unfortunately. That is something that we are lacking, but again, Eba just now gets up to a hefty, comfortable 90 worker count. It took him a long time, though. It took him a long time to get to this worker count. And because of that, he's having a hard time at refining his army. Here we go, MaNa hitting the field. 6 High Templar, each with at least 1 storm. Some of them are going to have 2 storms by the time the fight happens. Queens get caught out. The Spore Forest is not ready. The Spore Forest is not ready. It's being cancelled. It's being denied. Broodlords are coming in from behind. Good angle of attack. But the Stalkers, they push on forward. They blink onto one of those Broodlords. Ooh, solid feedback on the Viper as well. Do we have enough anti-air? It looks like we do not. 1 carrier goes down, but only 1 carrier. Do we have enough DPS to deal with the others? Up. It looks like we barely do. Eba cleans up the army once again, but this time he loses a mineral line. 28 drones go down. That was a good fight for Eba. I'm really impressed with how he took that engagement. If only he wasn't losing his mineral line. The Zealot Rambai is pulling him apart. His economy is crippled. And they're not stopping. We have Zealots pulled to the north. GG gets called, and MaNa will take the first game, becoming our first King of the Hill. GG. GG, well played. Really good fights out of Eba. Very impressive engagements. Every single time he was barely holding on. But something that Eba was lacking throughout a lot of that game was a good economy. Very early on, he lost a lot of workers, and he continued to lose drones, continued to be forced to make army units instead of droning as well. Eba's economy was something that never really got going. By the time he finally got past 80 workers, well, that's when the last fight happened. That's when MaNa pushed in with his carriers, and alas, even though Eba was able to barely hold on, he did not have enough of an army to defend his southern bases at the same time. Did end up losing so many drones. GG. GG. Well played. But an impressive showing nonetheless. Impressive showing. GG, Eba. GG. Oh. And, ooh. We have our next series. We have our next opponent. I don't have too much time to prepare. It's going to be a PvP between MaNa and his next opponent. His next challenger. It is going to be NightPhoenix. AKA Meow. NightPhoenix is very fond of cat girls. Shaking my head. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire as I attempt to rectify the rectify the names here. One moment. Bam, there we go. In the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player representing Hot-Headed Gaming. It is NightPhoenix. Quack. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Team Liquid, the current King of the Hill. It is MaNa. Again, a pretty intense game number one, quite back and forth as well. But now we're getting into game number two. I think what I love about what we're seeing so far, MaNa, he's a very old school player. I don't want to call him an old man by any means, but he's a very experienced veteran of the StarCraft scene. And these first two games, he's going up against the next generation of pro gamers. He's going up against the young blood, the young kids in the scene. Eva, now NightPhoenix as well, you know, these players that are still teenagers. It's really cool to see. It's really cool to see that MaNa, of course, is still around. He's still very competitive, but it's also cool to see, like, you know, we still have new faces and newer players rising up here in StarCraft, looking good, being able to keep up with some of the old guard, and at times overtake them as well. And we'll see if that's going to be the case here. As for now, 2 gate openers all around. Everything is looking as it should be. Also, I should reiterate, for those that are maybe a little bit unfamiliar with OSC King of the Hill, it isn't just the format of best of ones, it's a little bit different. It's also the map pool. I just realized that I introduced the map without really drawing too much attention to it. But yes, we do have an extended map pool for this tournament, which means we have the ladder maps like Altitude, Gressvan, Ancient Cistern, all that good stuff, of course. But we also have a couple of older maps. We have some older maps that were voted on. The player base did vote on maps to be added to this tournament map pool, and the maps are Cosmic Sapphire, let me just double check. Cosmic Sapphire, Moondance, and Calliope as well. So 3 maps have been added to this tournament map pool, and the challenger picks the map. So NightPhoenix decided he chose to play this out on one of these older maps. You'd love to see it. It's been a while. Been a year, over a year since we've seen games on Cosmic Sapphire. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. If you're, again, newer to the scene, Cosmic Sapphire and Moondance, they were active in the ladder map pool over a year ago, I think, at this point. I'm not too sure on the exact dates. But they're relatively new. Like, they're not that old. They're not as old as, like, 2000 Atmospheres and Jagannatha, for example. Oh, as here we go, 4 Stalkers are rocking up across the map. At the same time, we have 2 Stalkers and 2 Adepts getting into the main base as well. Damage is gonna be done. Both players are in a lot of trouble. That's a kill, not a cancel on that pylon. We have Adepts getting into the mineral line. The boys are being pulled. We get a surround on one of them. Sentry goes down. MaNa is losing a lot of workers. Likewise, MaNa depowers the production of NightPhoenix. And NightPhoenix, how does he defend? He has to recall. He has to recall everything back home. He has to give up on dealing damage across the map just to barely survive. With the high ground advantage, oh god, it's going to be difficult to overcome this deficit. At the same time, Oracle dips in. A couple more workers are going down. Was a Stargate opener here from NightPhoenix. We do have another Void Ray on the way. NightPhoenix is barely holding on. Again, he has to be very careful with his control. NightPhoenix is down a Stalker. Up. Up. Is going to be able to keep up in the end. Does push MaNa back. And that Oracle isn't done. We're diving back in. We do have 2 Stalkers in position. And MaNa does react in time. Is going to lose. Oh, maybe what? Oh, God. Doesn't lose any additional probes. And the Oracle barely escapes. Barely escapes with its life. NightPhoenix makes it out. As the dust settles, we actually have surprisingly even worker counts. We have a pretty similar economy here. MaNa's up 1 probe, but the army's moving out. Looking at the units tab, we do have MaNa with a Stalker advantage, but NightPhoenix has the additional Void Ray. Shield Battery isn't done yet at the natural, so we don't have an overcharge, but we're about to in a couple of seconds once that Shield Battery does finish up. And here we go. We're diving on forward. We do activate the Pulsar Beam on that Void Ray. Boys are being pulled. Good target firing on the Stalkers. Stalkers are going down. There's only 3 left. There's only 2 remaining. We have a Shield Battery. We do have an overcharge. It's barely keeping that 1 Stalker alive. And it looks like with the overcharge with the Shield Battery, MaNa holds. MaNa shuts down the army across the map, getting economic damage done as well. 7 probes go down. We have an Oracle diving into the main, but no, MaNa keeps up. He does shoo it away. The power of the overcharge. NightPhoenix was so close to breaking MaNa then and there. There was 1 Stalker left. 1 Stalker. If NightPhoenix was able to just barely kill it before the Shield Battery finished, then that may have been game. Then and there, that may have been game. It was a tough decision to make, going for the Stalkers instead of the Shield Battery. Oracle goes down. Now NightPhoenix is behind. Is down quite a bit in the worker count. Has a blink on the way. Does not have a Shield Battery here on the low ground. MaNa with that blink advantage does take down the Void Ray. Doesn't lose the Stalker. Up. Blink now finishes. There we go. We do see NightPhoenix counterattacking here, getting a couple of units as well. Proxy Gate is thrown down. And this is looking like a 2-base 4-gate all-in here from NightPhoenix. We'll see if he does decide to tech or throw down a 3rd base behind this, as MaNa is working on his own 3rd. Oh, we have a 5th gateway. Yeah, it's all in. Meanwhile, MaNa going for a proxy Dark Shrine. Ooh, there's no detection. We do have access to an Oracle with that Stargate, but DTs, they could end the game. NightPhoenix rocks up, but NightPhoenix doesn't have the Stalker count to overwhelm this army. The Shield Battery is still there. We have an overcharge available. More units are being warped in. NightPhoenix is committing to the all-in, but this is taking too long. It's taking too long, and the Dark Shrine is going to finish. The Invisible Man is about to come out. And we can't see it. He's invisible, Papi. We don't have an answer. We don't have any oracles, not yet. MaNa now with an Immortal and a Shield Battery and an Overcharge. He may not even warp them in defensively. There we go. 3 DTs. They're going to be headed across the map. It looks like we want to take the gold. I love it. NightPhoenix is going for the gold base. I appreciate it, but these DTs, they're coming, Papi. They're coming, and good control here. NightPhoenix able to overwhelm this army. Does take down the Immortal, and we can one-shot. Stalkers are going down 1 at a time. Good damage is being done here. We blink on forward. We take down the pylon. Everything is depowered. It was Nartosis pylon, but across the map, the DTs are killing everything. There is no answer for them. There is no detection. As amazing as this attack was, even though NightPhoenix did a lot of damage, he's losing every probe across the map. 27 workers go down. NightPhoenix is going to try and force his way up the ramp, but we have a defensive DT. And NightPhoenix is running out of steam. again, like, really good damage here. If only there was a form of detection. MaNa has nothing left when it comes to army, I should say. Probes are going down. NightPhoenix just trying to do the best he can. GG gets called. Good luck in the next game as MaNa takes down NightPhoenix. Takes down the challenger and holds onto his throne. MaNa's still the king of the hill. GG. Whew. GG, well played. But that was an intense game. That was really down to the wire. To be honest, really smart of MaNa to tech into that Dark Shrine. The DTs did win him the game. If it wasn't for those DTs, then we could be seeing a NightPhoenix victory here. And even before that, remember that shield battle? Remember that overcharge? Remember that one hero stalker that just refused to die? Oh, God. It was really close. It was a really close defense there from MaNa. Did come out on top. Did take down the young blood. He's like, mate, you know, I'm not that old yet, okay? Like, he still got it. Clearly, MaNa still got it, and he does take the game. Oof. And the question becomes, who's next? Who is next? I'm catching up in the chat. Eba, no. Eva, you did well. You did so well, Eva. Hold on. I don't know if you saw it in the chat. I'm going to message him. But Eva did so well in his series. Catching up. Gonna work on your college applications. Oh, God. Eva, he's too young. What do you mean? He's still in high school. Eva's 14. Ay. GG, well played. MaNa does bring down both of his opponents, both of his challengers, and oh my apologies. I am needed elsewhere. We have our next opponent. It's gonna be a Korean Terran. Now we do have a couple of Korean Terran players available. A couple of Korean Terrans available here in the OSC Elite circuit. We have players like HonMonO himself. We have players like Byeon. We have players like Percival as well. But this is a very special Korean Terran player. I love him so much, so dearly. He's very unique when it comes to his playstyle. It is going to be Quanta. Let's go. I believe Quanta, a new freelance player. I believe he recently left Team Abydos. I say left. For those wondering, Team Abydos did disband. They did disband after the end of World Team League of WTL over the weekend. So there are a lot of Korean free agents. Players like Quanta, Cure, DRG, SOS. There are a lot of players now scattered to the wind and now are teamless, which is a bit of a shame, but we also knew that Abydos was going to be like a one season sort of thing. They did sponsor and you know, brought everyone together for one season of WTL, and unfortunately looks like Abydos won't be reprising the contracts or reprising their team for a second season, which is a bit of a shame. Likewise, Club NV didn't pick up all those players either. From our understanding, the only players left on Club NV are Creator and Mondo. They're the two players on NV. All the others are teamless. And it's a lot of players, unfortunately. So yeah, hopefully they're able to find, you know, a stable home, find a place that they can call home. Especially some of the stronger players. Cure especially. Cure deserves to be on a team. He deserves to be represented, or deserves to be supported, just because of how good he is. I would say the same about DRG. I think DRG is really in form as well. I mean, we saw that over the weekend. We saw DRG look so powerful against Dragon Kaizi Gaming, and Team Liquid as well. So yeah, I hope DRG and Cure are able to find some good teams to help them out and to support them as best they can. As we are waiting. Team NV disbanded. Abydos disbanded. NV, they only held on to 2 players. Only 2 players. I'll make a team for DRG. Let's go. But yeah, Team NV disbanded like at the start of the year. But Team NV turned into Club NV, which is more of a like a clan sort of thing. Team NV hasn't been around for a long time. Hello, Fiant. Hello, Fiant. You're too late. We did a Home Story Cup replay cast a couple of hours ago, and we casted your series versus Skillus. We casted Fiant versus Skillus, as well as Fiant versus Solar as well. Yeah. Oh, shout out to Fiant in the chat. Also, if you're available, and if you wish to, you can also, if you're a member of OSC Elite, you could potentially play in this tournament. You could play. That's okay. Take care of yourself, Bobby. Take care of yourself. Cell disbanded Abydos after that all kill. Does that mean is Solar disbanding Basilisk? Is that what that means? Solar, mate, oh my god, he had his way with Cyril and Raynor over the weekend. It was very impressive from Solar. All jokes, hopefully Team Basilisk, they stay together. Hopefully they're okay. No ill will, of course, no ill will. Fair enough, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. As it looks like we are going to be holding off on Quanta. We were just looking for him, but it looks like he is unavailable at the moment. Again, Quanta, he may pop up. He may show up later on, and we may be able to field him later on in the tournament. For now, we're going to be featuring another Protoss player. NightPhoenix may have gone down, but we have another Ukrainian Protoss player. It is going to be Rostok. We've been seeing a lot more. We've been seeing a lot more of Rostok recently. It's been pretty interesting. I've been very unfamiliar with him, like for the majority of his career. But over the past couple of months, he's been a very active player in these online tournaments. For maybe the past month, maybe 2 months. Even playing here in OSC King of the Hill. So we'll see if he can avenge his fallen brethren in NightPhoenix, as we have another mirror matchup. So the chat's catching up with Final Fantasy talk. Aye. It's the chase. Oh. But thankfully, we have our next player. He is here. Can confirm. And we're loading into our next game. It is going to be on Royal Blood. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Polish Protoss player. He is red, representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Ukrainian Protoss, representing Hazard Esports. It is Rostok. Not NightPhoenix. Just fixing that on the nameplates. And here we go. What team was MaNa on in Wings of Liberty? I remember he did join he did join Team Liquid a couple of years in. Not too sure. Not too sure. We have the technology though. We have the technology. As for the time being, we do have some pretty standard openers here. Rostok going for his 2 gases, going to be going for a double gate opener. Likewise, I expect the same to be had from MaNa as well. And apparently, MaNa was on Mouse Esports. Oh, Big Gabe's team. Let's go. MaNa was on Mouse. I remember when MaNa joined Team Liquid. I think it was in Heart of the Swarm. I remember when he joined, and it was like a really big deal at the time. He was so happy, Bob. He was so happy. I can't believe he's been on TL for such a long time as well. It's been many years, actually. I guess I can say the same for Big Gabe, right? For Hero Marine. How long has Hero Marine been on Mouse? Alright. I pose a challenge. As Rostok is going for 1 base all in. As we get into this 1 base all in, is there anyone in StarCraft history that has been on a team longer than Hero Marine has been on Mouse Esports? I'm very curious about that. Has anyone been on a team longer? Because Hero Marine has been on the same team ever since 2011. 1 year into Wings of Liberty. 1 year. Does anyone like beat him to that? Is that a thing? TLO. Well, TLO, he's on Shopify. TLO isn't on Team Liquid anymore. He left Team Liquid and he joined Shopify a couple of years ago. As we're getting into our all-in. As we're getting into this, and here we go. Rostok is throwing down a 3rd gateway back at home. We have a proxy robot on the map. MaNa, is he aware of what's going on? He has scouted a set of robot. I was a little bit distracted by the history talk. But yeah, he has scouted the robot in the center of the map and going for his own Stargate defensively even. Interesting. A very bold move as MaNa is going to be bypassing the army here of Rostok. Has a proxy pylon out on the map as well. This is going to get really weird. As we could enter some base trade territory. Bold move. There is no defensive sentry. No force fields are available here for MaNa. He's pushing in. Takes down the pylon here, breaking into the main base. Likewise, so is Rostok. Now MaNa does have a shield battery, does have an overcharge. Voids are being pulled. A lot of workers are going down. Likewise, MaNa, he focuses down the gateways. He is depowering the production here of Rostok. Rostok only has 1 gateway left to warp in. Across the map, we can see Rostok does have a lot of firepower with this Immortal, but we have Phoenixes on the way, and MaNa's holding. I can't say the same for Rostok across the map. He is losing so much. He recalls back home. A late decision. Does go for it. Does save what little he has. 13 probes survive, but the damage was done. MaNa is in a commanding position. It was a risky move to go for, but a move that clearly paid off. And as Rostok's moving out, MaNa, he's just getting more Phoenixes, more Warpins, more Stalkers. He has so much time available. Yeah, and he just collapses on the army. He can even pick up the... Oh my god. A little bit bugged out there with the Immortal, but does pick it up. I don't know if you saw that, the Immortal... as the Immortal gets shut down. The Immortal was... I think it was mid-pickup from the Prism. So when it got lifted by the Phoenix, it was actually outside of the Phoenix bubble, like graphically. It's fine. It's kind of weird. Or maybe it was being dropped. I don't know. Regardless, Rostok is going to keep on pushing. Did lose his Prism. He cannot reinforce. I mean, he could barely reinforce anyway. Oh no, I guess that's just how it looks. My apologies. It's just too big, Poppy. It's just too big. I'm used to seeing it like this, where it's inside the bubble. As the Stalkers are going down. And yeah, with this, Rostok, he's running out of steam. He's going for an expansion. He's going to try to macro out of this. Oof. After being down 8 workers. And it's going to be a rough road to recovery here for Rostok. He's got quite a lot to overcome. We have Void Rays on the way. Rostok technically has, I guess, better production. Still has the Robo at least that he can try to make use of. But for the most part, Rostok, he is on the back foot. And even when it comes to this natural base, it's not even that much faster compared to the natural of MaNa. Yeah, because there's no blink, MaNa can even afford to be a little bit risky like this and dip in, take a couple of Stalker hits, get a probe. Can afford to do so. And MaNa's just really shoring himself up. We have a Robo on the way just in case there's like, I don't know, a Dark Shrine. We'll have detection available. Plenty to work with. And he's going to be just shutting down the Robo in the center of the map. Is there a world where Rostok can come back in this game? I mean, there are a lot of like comeback options in PvP, like the Dark Templar, for example. You see Rostok pushing forward. He does take down that Void Ray. Not too bad here. As MaNa was focusing across the map instead. Does get 3 probes. Let's get a couple more. 5 in total. Rostok trying to catch out some of these units. He does take down a Stalker. He's looking for another. I mean, Rostok has been warping in a lot of Stalkers. And there we go. He up. Oh, takes down 2 more, just barely. Only 1 escapes. Looking at the units tab, MaNa only has 3 Stalkers right now. He's in a bit of danger. As he continues to lose probes across the map to the Phoenixes. The Immortal's still on the way. Looks like we don't quite have enough to one-shot those Stalkers. Does get 1. Rostok trying to overwhelm, but with the shield batteries, with the overcharge, now with the reinforcing Immortal, MaNa, he has enough to hold on. Brings his Phoenixes back just in case. MaNa, he's, again, in a pretty decent position. He may have a low Stalker count, but he's got Phoenixes and now Immortals that help make up for that. MaNa is contained to 2 bases, though. I don't think he can really take up too good of a fight outside of range of his shield batteries, so he's kind of stuck at home. And this will allow Rostok to take a 3rd. He can take a faster 3rd base. Oof. As Rostok blinks into the main. No! Blinks into Immortals and bleeds out a little bit too much. And that contain that we were talking about, the map control that Rostok once had, isn't really there anymore. He has to back off. He just bled out a little bit too much, and now MaNa is free to move out across the map. We do have that 3rd on the way, but looking at the units tab here, we have 9 Stalkers for Rostok against 8 Stalkers, 2 Immortals, and 4 Phoenixes of MaNa. Every unit that is lifted just goes down. One G. MaNa will take the game, will hold on to his crown, and he continues to be our king of the hill. GG. Very well played by MaNa. Was in a lot of control that game. The early game was really scary when we saw like almost a pseudo base shape, but it was really smart of MaNa to commit and to depower the gateways of his opponents. We saw Rostok wasn't quite able to bust into the main base despite having a Warp Prism, an Immortal, a good Stalker count. He couldn't quite do enough damage across the map and eventually was forced out of the main base of MaNa and forced to recall. From that moment, he was in a really rough position, and GG, well played. I'm catching up. I wonder if anyone's come up with anything. when it comes to any other players that have been on teams for a long time. Did NightPhoenix have a barcode? Oh, he's on his alt. He was on his alt account. He was on his alt account. Meow. Oh, as we have our, oh my god, we already have our next series. We have our next opponent. He is finally here. We were supposed to start with him. He is last week's reigning king of the hill. It is Wayne. Oh, let's go. True. Cats was on, I mean, Cats founded Roots, but if you remember, Cats, he left to join Complexity for a while, right? I think it was Complexity. Those which was weird, actually. Right? It's weird that he had a team, but he joined a different team. It's fine, don't worry about it. Do you remember that? Do you remember? As we are getting into our next series, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the yellow Zerg player representing Team Starcom, last week's King of the Hill. It is Wayne. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his next opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Team Liquid, the current King of the Hill, with 3 wins under his belt. It is MaNa. Isn't that his main? He just renamed it. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. I know NightPhoenix has like 3 accounts. I think he has like NightPhoenix. He's got like Cat Girl. He's got like another Cat Girl, and then maybe a Meow, which is fine. It's fine. I just had to correct it, just to make sure no one got confused as to who was playing before. I do that for like Ragnarok as well. Like Ragnarok, he doesn't have an account called Ragnarok on Korea. His Korean account is his real name, like it's just his name, so I had to fix that for that. Who's another one? Ragnarok. I'm sure there are others. Oh, Silky. Silky has a different name on NA as well. I think he plays on a barcode on NA, so I do have to change it for Silky. Otherwise, we're getting into this so far. Gate expand here from MaNa. Wayne already working towards his Ling speed here. Force take the unnatural natural, unfortunately. So gonna have a bit of an awkward start. But I should also reiterate once again, we are playing on an extended map pool, and we're back after many years on Cosmic Sapphire. Feels good, man. And this does make a lot of sense. For those wondering, it is also the Challengers map pick. As Wayne is the challenger, he has chosen Cosmic Sapphire, which is a very large map. There's a gold base towards the bottom left, there's a Zonaga in the center, a lot of bases to be taken, very wide open in the center of the map as well. So it does make sense for Wayne to want to play it out here on Cosmic. Meanwhile, a couple of Lings do make it across the map. Oh, do get a probe kill. Very nicely done. Lings are also able to scout the initial tech as well, as Wayne does have eyes on the Stargate. As the Lings are cleaned up, and oh, MaNa is actually switching things up here. Despite going for the Stargate opener, he's not going for an Oracle first. He's going for a Void Ray instead. Uh-oh. Cosmic Sapphire can be a very defensive map as well. There is a wide entryway here at the linear third base, yes, but it can be walled off if the Protoss player is creative enough. Likewise, here on the right-hand side, a very narrow choke point as well as a ramp to take advantage of. So I wonder if MaNa does plan on being a little bit more defensive this game. As the first Void Ray has arrived, is going to be hunting down this Overlord, is going to be keeping Wayne in the dark. Thankfully, there is an Oracle afterwards. Of course, Wayne doesn't know that and is going to get some fly blocked for a moment. but MaNa is just keeping his opponent guessing, keeping him on his toes. Back at home, Wayne getting his spores. We have a spore in the main, spore in the natural. At the third base, we have 3 queens in position, so plenty of anti-air for 1 oracle. As long as Wayne is in position, he should be okay. As the Void Ray is looking for more more Overlords. Looking for more damage, and yep, this is what I thought. When I said that he was going to be more defensive, and the reason why I brought up how narrow this choke point is and how you can turtle up on Cosmic, it's Skytoss. Fleet Beacon, second Stargate, carriers are going to be on the way. We're going back. We're going back to the Cosmic Sapphire meta. It's happening. I mean, to be fair, on Cosmic Sapphire, that was back when Double Stargate Void Ray was a thing, and we're not making any more Void Rays, so to be fair, this is a more modern variation of it, but regardless, we are rushing into carriers nonetheless. This has been quite trendy in recent times. Players like, not just MaNa, but players like Hero and Classic, they have also been trying to whip this out whenever they can. Typically, in the current map pool, this is done on maps like Neo-Humanity, Altitude as well. Just because those maps are a little bit more defensible and you can get away with a little bit more on them as well. There we go, +1 air attack is on the way. A good catch in the center of the map, taking down some of those adepts. For the time being, Wayne is still in the dark. Working on Roach speed. He does have a Hydrogen on the way, and ooh, the Oracle does go down. Wayne is going to be harassing, and Wayne does check the Cybercore. He knows. He sees the Cybercore researching. Warp Gate is done. This can only be for one thing, and he canceled. Oh, no, he didn't cancel. Oh, he's committing. Okay. We're going Hydras. He sees this researching. He knows that Skytoss is coming. It can only be +1 air attack. I wonder what the plan is. Are we going to go into Vipers? Are we going to go for a longer game? Or are we going to go for one big timing to try to kill his opponents? The carriers, we have confirmation. We have confirmation. Carriers, they reveal themselves to the Overseer. So if Wayne didn't notice before, he knows now. And we will have plenty of Hydras to defend against the initial push. But I'm thinking about afterwards. Here we go. We have Ling, Roach maneuvering towards the south, getting ready to try to hit this third base. Void Ray does come across the Roaches. At the same time, carriers are pushing in. Roaches are deflected. Now you have to be very careful with these carries. The creep is honestly really impressive here from Wayne. Like, we have some pretty good creep spread. Because of that, we can see Queens and Hydras even collapse on these carriers. But they do find their way into the main base. Spores in position. Hydras have arrived. And MaNa has to be very careful. These carriers, they're quite delicate. We don't want to throw them away. Plenty of Hydras have hit the field. No infestation bit yet, which means no Hive, which means no Vipers. Just pure Hydra for the time being. And again, it's very possible that Wayne could try and kill MaNa before he can really get going. He's only got 4 carriers. He did recall 2 of them back home, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Did recall them back home. The carriers, though, they're being caught out. Oh. Taking some shield damage there. MaNa in a really awkward position. Does get caught out. 1 carrier goes down. We only have 3 left. Interceptors are falling as well. There's just too much anti-air available. Wayne is busting into the natural. Takes down the Cybercore. And there's not enough on the ground to support this Skytoss army. MaNa, he's got almost 2k minerals in the bank. Charge not done. Unable to warp in. Unable to make use of his bank. We needed more than just carrots. We needed these zealots earlier. Chargeless would have been amazing to support this. Storm isn't done yet either. Without Storm, we cannot defend against these Hydras, as the third base has been broken. And with that, MaNa, he had an impressive run. MaNa, he had 3 wins under his belt. Very impressive reign. But GG gets called. The king is dead. All hail the new king of the hill, Wayne. GG. You're hearing wind in the background? I think that was the map. Am I crazy? I think that was Cosmic Sapphire. Let me know if it continues. I don't know where the wind is coming from, but potentially. GG, well played. Wayne will take down MaNa 1-0. Oh, and there we go. He does dethrone MaNa, takes that crown for himself, and he's going to be our new King of the Hill. GG. The King has returned, as MaNa was last week's King of the Hill as well. When I say that, Wayne, sorry, it was last week's King of the Hill. Wayne was the last player to stand strong above all other players last week. And, oh my god. We have a spicy series. Oh my god, it just gets better and better. Wayne has a challenger. He has an opponent. It is going to be... Oh god. Oh, they have no chill, Papi. They have no chill. It's going to be Spirit. That's the sound in the chat. You're an animal. You're an animal. It is going to be the Polish Terran player, Spirit. Oh, let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gress Farm, we have the Polish Terran player representing Storm Gaming, one of the best Terrans in all of Europe. It is Spirit. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the yellow Zerg player representing Team Starcom, the current King of the Hill. It is Wayne. Here we go, and yeah, the matchup's pretty high quality so far. I was hoping we were maybe going to be saving Spirit for later on, give Wayne an opportunity to build himself up, but no, as soon as Wayne takes the crown, we have a very terrifying challenger here in Spirit. Spirit has been on a roll recently. He's been peaking in skill. It's been very, very impressive and very exciting to see Spirit excel and really level up as a player over the past, what, 8 months, the entire year, ever since Katowice. It feels like in years past, Spirit was always obviously one of the best Terrans in Europe, but I don't know, he was more of like I feel like he was kind of known as like the practice partner. He was always there to play, but like never had any deep runs in tournaments. But I feel like in current year, in current era of StarCraft, I would say that Spirit has really closed the gap between himself and Hero Marine. I think in the past, like, it was very clear that Clem was #1 and Hero Marine was #2 in Europe. But again, in recent times, Spirit has really been just performing so well. His results have really shown that and have really expressed that as well. He's actually beaten Hero Marine many times now in these big offline events, whether it's ESL Masters Summer or Gamers 8 or some of these other tournaments. So yeah, it's been really cool to see Spirit just excel more and more, and yeah, it's pretty terrifying now. That's pretty terrifying. I'm always bringing it back as the third base is gonna be delayed. Oof, is gonna be denied. Already a very good start here for Spirit. Does slow down Wayne. But I'm bringing it back 3 weeks ago at this point. On this channel, we casted a Polish LAN tournament. It was a massive tournament in Poland. A lot of really good players. Spirit was there, Alasia was there, and Spirit faced off against Alasia in a best of 5 and a best of 7, and he looked dominant. Spirit looked, this was before Gamers 8 as well. Oh my god, as we do have a bit of a ling round by, but Spirit does hold on to his SV. This was before Gamers 8, the week before Gamers 8, and Spirit looked so dominant over Alasia, both in the best of 5 and the best of 7. And I remember in Gamers 8, they actually played there as well. I saw them match up against each other. I'm like, oh, not again. And likewise, Spirit also was able to bring down Alasia in Gamers 8. And yeah, it wasn't just the result. It was just like the manner in which he did it. Spirit was very versatile. We saw macro games. We saw cheese. We saw Blue Flame, double factory Hellion timings. We saw 2-port BCs. Spirit did everything under the sun against a... It was disgusting. He did everything to a laser. The laser, he couldn't stop it. It was very impressive. I highly recommend checking out the VODs. They're on Twitch and they're soon to be on YouTube. So, yeah, basically what I'm getting at is I think very highly of Spirit at the moment, and we'll see if he can be stopped. To be fair, this is a very different format. Best of ones. These are best of ones, so as a result, anything can happen. Anything will happen. Oh. As for now, Spirit is going for a 3cc opener, 3cc into that starport. Interesting, doesn't go for the add-on slope, is going for a much faster stim instead. No Banshees coming out from Spirit. Going to be sharking around with his Hellions back across the map. Wayne just playing standard, really. His third base was delayed, but outside of that, nothing too major has occurred. He's going for his lair at 4 minutes 30, going for the bathing nest afterwards so we can get into bathing speed once the lair is done. So really standard stuff out of Wayne, nothing too crazy. He's not prioritizing or cutting corners. He's not getting into his Evo chambers, no Roach Warren. Just straight up Ling Bane from our Zerg player. Meanwhile, Spirit's likewise going for a very economic opener into his additional Raxes. No mech, of course, coming out, not with that stim. His Hellions are hitting the field, and he's just looking for some map control. If the opportunity presents himself, then I'm sure he will dive into a mineral line. As Liberator does rock up here at the third. 3 drones go down already. Spirit doing a great job at distracting the queens of Wayne. Creep is being denied. Liberator dips into the main base as well. Wayne is keeping up though. This time he will not be caught off guard. As I say that, Hellions do threaten the third base and nothing is killed, but we do force a lot of lost mining time. A big reaction there out of Wayne. He wasn't quite ready for that. As the Spirit does back off. And this is where things start to heat up, as Wayne is doing something we don't get to see too often, so I appreciate it. He's taking all 6 of his gases very quickly. He's delaying his Evo chambers even longer here by not throwing them down, because he's preserving his gas for mutas. We have a Spire on the way here for Wayne. Ling Bane Muta, something you don't see too often anymore. But again, I always appreciate it whenever we do see it. A little bit old school. Spirit with his Liberator did not see the Spire. He is unaware that mutas are about to hit the field. For now, he's unaware. Until then, he's just building up his forces. Stim is done. Combat Shields is on the horizon. 1-1 on the way. And Spirit is now going to be moving out. Does Wayne have enough? He has to be careful not to overmake mutas. Baneling's going to be very crucial here in the defense. There is no armory, no Hellbats. Just Hellions to support. Support how they can. Spirit is getting in position. Bailing speed about to finish up as well. Before it does, he's able to siege up those tanks. Mutas are about to reveal themselves. The scan does show the mutas. And back at home, turrets are thrown down immediately. Very quick reaction out of Spirit. Meanwhile, oh my god, a hot pickup. He barely does save that tank. Very nicely done. As Spirit is just kind of flirting with the bases here of Wayne, but he's going to back off. He's not going to commit. He recognizes that he doesn't have enough to break this, and he also recognizes the threat of those mutas as the mutas attempt to catch those medevacs. Spirit backs off. Turrets are done. Mutas haven't done any damage yet. As Wayne is still sharking around, working on +1 air attack. We have more mutas on the way. He's committing to them. Quite hard. He's also able to get into his own upgrades. Of course, Wayne is going to be behind in those melee upgrades, or the Ling Bane upgrades, in favor of mutas. Here we go. Spirit now going to be pushing out, this time with 4 tanks as well as Hellbats. The armory is done. He's going to have a much stronger position as he establishes himself, though. Wayne does have a surround on the way. Banelings are morphing in, and I don't think Spirit is aware of this army, but he scans. He knows. He is aware. Knowing is half the battle, though. Just because he knows the army is there, does that mean he can survive? As Wayne is collapsing on this position. The Banelings roll in, they connect with everything, and the tanks will go down. It did cost Wayne quite a bit, but he does clean this up. He's even going to take down some of these medevacs. Marines do come into support, and there are no Banelings left. Up, one left. Good target firing. God, that was close. The Baneling did not connect, and Spirit, his push is not over. It's not done. A bit of an anti-timing as well. 1-1 just finished. It just finished for Wayne after the fight ended. Spirit is going to back off, though. He's not going to overextend. Doesn't want to throw any kind of lead, especially considering he only has one medevac. Like, without too many medevacs, every stim hurts that much more. Wayne going to be rotating around. Spirit did delay his fourth base by quite a lot to make this push work, but the fourth is now on the way. He is transitioning, isn't all in. But I'm sure his push was designed to do a little bit more damage. As the Mutas finally get into the main base, and they're able to pick off 2 of those reactors. Not too bad. A couple of SCVs, a gas geyser as well. Even a second gas geyser. The Marines are being overpowered. Wayne just pulling apart the attention of Spirit. He scans, he sees the Lingbane army, and I don't think he has enough to really contest against it. Yeah, again, this late fourth base is really hurting Spirit. His push was designed to break the third. Marine drop into the main is going to get damage done, but is going to get cleaned up. And Wayne is now comfortably sitting back on all these bases. On 5 bases, 83 workers. He is maxed out on Lingbane Muta. And we saw how delayed this fourth was. I don't know if Spirit can ever get the fourth up and running. There's just too much Lingbane, too many Mutas as well, let alone the fourth. What about the third? As the Banelings are rolling in, there are no tanks in position. No Widowmines either. And the third base is gonna hold on, but there's nothing quite left. As Widowmines are now hitting the field, but it may just be too late. The Banelings, they get into the mineral line, they get into the natural. 29 SCVs go down. GG gets called, and Wayne will remain our king of the hill. GG. Ugh. Was a stressful defense there for Wayne, but a very committed attack from Spirit. We saw that, again, he had 3 bases and not much else behind it. He needed to break his opponent then and there, but just barely couldn't. The Mutas, they themselves even did a decent job of just slowing down his opponent, just even pulling Spirit back a couple of times as well. And Wayne was able to swallow him up. Spirit never able to actually make use of his 4th base. By that point, again, he had already lost too much. And Wayne takes down one of the best Terran players in Europe. A player that I would have assumed would have been the end of Wayne's run. A very big name gets brought down, and do we have any bigger? That's the question. Do we even need a bigger name? As a reminder, these are best of ones. These are best of ones, so even a player that you would consider to be a lesser player can come up with a very cheeky build, can come out swinging with their map pick as well, and they can take down a player like Wayne or a player like Spirit or some of these other big names. GG. GG, well played. Alright. Who's next? Who is coming up next? Exclamation mark. Be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the Wikipedia page. We are a third of the way through. Oh, wait. Oh, we're going. Oh, I'm excited. We're going back to the land of the Americas. We are a third of the way through. 5 games have come and gone. We still have 10 more ahead of us. 10 more games, and up next is going to be a Zerg player. It's going to be the king of the sea himself. It is going to be MeomaikA. Oh. Let's go. MeomaikA, of course, a wild card, a force to be reckoned with. Can take it to even the best players in the world. Is a dangerous opponent, and someone not to be taken lightly. Oh boy. Especially in a ZVZ. And I'm curious. Where are we going? What map are we going to be taking place on? As a reminder, it is, of course, MeomaikA's map pick, and Wayne gets one veto. One veto to his name. Looks like Wayne is going to be vetoing Neo Humanity. Makes sense. Very small map, very short rush distance. He doesn't want things to get too chaotic. Oh, and MeomaikA is going to be playing with his reputation. Doesn't go for a small map, he goes for the largest map possible. It's going to be on altitude. Oh boy. This ZVZ will be taking place on altitude. I'm catching up in the chat. Catching up. Oh, hello Nish. Hello Nish in the chat. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. They had a show match with Nina last night. Who is they? Wayne? MeomaikA? Question mark? Here we... Oh, me. Oh, yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Exciting to hear. Exciting to hear. Hope they had some good games. It's good. It's good to hear that Nina's still competing. Haven't really heard much from her in a while. She takes breaks. She takes breaks from time to time. But good to see that she is still competing, and I'm looking forward to, of course, DreamHack. DreamHack is around the corner. DreamHack, I believe, is in October, if I'm not mistaken. DreamHack Atlanta, I mean, ESL Masters Winter. ESL Masters Winter. Oh, and here we go. The lobby has been made. We are diving into our next game. Let's go. Ah, this is another example. I need to fix the UI. Shaking my head. And spawning. Oh, as I do have to fix this up. Un momento. There we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of altitude. We have the red Zerg player representing Team StarCom. Oh my god. Representing Team StarCom, it is the current king of the hill. It is Wayne. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, going for a 12 pool, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player representing Team Gosu. It's the king of the sea, the cat god himself. It is MeomaikA. Again, we cast MeomaikA a lot on this channel. I want to say we have like over 50 VODs of him on our YouTube channel. We cast a lot of MeomaikA here. And he's always a treat to see. He's a very, I don't want to say aggressive, just a very unpredictable player. It's probably the best word to describe MeomaikA. And a good example of that is this. Altitude is the largest map in the map pool. Going for a 12 pool is a crazy thing to do. Wayne is reading him beautifully as Wayne goes for a pool first opener. Very safe opener here out of Wayne. It's going to be a spawning pool into a hatchery into a gas geyser. What this means is that he has very fast access to queens and lings defensively. Ideal against something like a 12 pool. Sure, MeomaikA, he has faster lings and he's going to be quite aggressive with them. But by the time these lings get across the map, spawning pool's done. Lings are coming out. Wayne should have plenty to defend. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for MeomaikA to get damage done. Of course, it will come down to the control nonetheless. MeomaikA is going to have to try to micro his heart out here to overcome the defensive capabilities here of his opponent. He does scout, of course, that it is a later hatchery. He's going to be dancing with those things. Gets a bit of damage on some of them. Boys are being pulled as well to add to the damage that we have here for Wayne. They're still respecting the army here of MeomaikA quite a bit. The queen has arrived, and with this queen, Wayne should be able to shoot this army back. Mio getting a lot of damage done on that hatchery, even making it bleed a little bit, but MeomaikA does back off. Looking at the units tab, no one lost anything. In a sense, no one lost anything. Wayne, he was forced to pull some workers, so a bit of lost mining time here for Wayne, and that allowed MeomaikA to drone up, as MeomaikA is still working on his natural. And I would give the edge to Wayne here. Sure, like, there was lost mining time, but he gets away with his hatchery, he has a faster queen, and more importantly, Wayne has a faster gas as well. He's mining gas, he has link speed on the way, something that MeomaikA does not have. So there's going to be a window where Wayne has link speed and his opponent doesn't. MeomaikA may even skip link speed entirely as well. So we can see Mio trying to chase down that Overlord. And he will get it. Supply. Oh, actually, that's a pretty big supply block. There's no Overlord on the way for Wayne. Despite that Overlord taking a lot of hits, he's not ready for this. A big supply block for the red Zerg player across the map. MeomaikA is skipping link speed. He's going straight for the lair. Ugh. And even though Wayne is having a much faster Baneling nest, even though I'm pretty sure he wanted to go for maybe even a Link Bane bust, he just couldn't make anything. Could even lose another Overlord across the map. As, there we go, Wayne, he's making more Lings. He's sending more Lings out on the map. He's going to be getting a third base, but that may just be for Larva. As Wayne is looking to break MeomaikA. Meanwhile, Mia back at home goes for a full wall off. No way into the natural. Oh no, the queen! Unfortunately, the queen is left outside and will go down immediately. Did not get the second Overlord. And Wayne is going to be containing MeomaikA to 2 bases, is going to be droning up as best he can back at home. And what is MeomaikA going to do with this fast lair? We have roaches on the way. We are taking all 4 gases. Sorry, we're taking 3 gases. We haven't taken the 4th gas in the main. So it isn't going to be mutas. It is going to be roach speed. We are committing to 2 base roach. Of course, Wayne has map control. He has a 3rd base. He's going to have more larvae to work with. And he's going to be able to drone up quite happily behind this. Meanwhile, Mia are going to be just staying back at home, working on a 1-1 timing. Building up a massive roach army. As long as Wayne doesn't become too greedy, as long as he doesn't drone too much, he should be okay. It can be very tempting. As a Zerg player, because you know your upper base, because you know that MeomaikA is stuck on 2 bases, it can be very tempting to just drone and saturate your 3rd. But you do have to be careful. You do have to respect the fact that MeomaikA is going to have a very large roach army. He's just banking up more and more roaches here on these 2 bases. Wayne has to be careful. He is scouting, he's looking for ninjas. He's looking for ninja bases, hidden bases out on the map. He also has to be wary of something like a Nidus. And Wayne has been able to join up to 52, and I think this is a good worker count to stop at. As there we go, he's commencing roach production. +1 range is on the way, so we can have a comparable upgrade here. Comparable upgrades to MeomaikA. Meanwhile, MeomaikA is still just backing up nothing but roaches. And he's going to be waiting here for 1-1 to finish. Overseer dips in, confirms the lack of gas, and here we go. +1 range is done. The roaches are moving out. it may be wise to throw down some spine crawlers. Wayne's gonna be careful. It's gonna be a very potent timing. But Wayne, he has Lings to reinforce. He's down by 10 roaches. But we have 8 more on the way. Wayne has the defender's advantage. He even has the time to send Lings across the map for a counterattack. +1 carapace is done as well. MeomaikA is committing. He's forcing his way up the ramp, trying to get on top of this army. The queens are barely holding on. Reinforcements are coming in as well. It looks like MeomaikA, he's running out of steam. Lings, they get across the map. Oof. They disrupt the economy. Boys are being pulled, and GG gets called. Wayne defends against the 2-base all-in, and he takes down the King of the Sea. GG. GG, well played. Thankfully, Wayne, he didn't over-drone. He didn't overcommit to his economy. You know, a respectable 52 workers did stay at that, built up his own roaches, and is able to defend. Gets MeomaikA. GG, well played. And with that win, Wayne now has 3 victories under his belt. I bring that up because that is the equivalent of MaNa earlier. MaNa did get 3 wins just before he was brought down by Wayne himself, by the current King of the Hill. So we'll see if Wayne can extend that lead. We'll see if he can just get his win streak, his kill streak going even longer. Oh boy. Who else is left? Now, there are a lot of regulars as well. There's players like Demi, players like, oh. So we're heading over to the European region. There are players like Demi, Dimaga, Kaz, a lot of regulars here. A lot of the Polish Protosses like Geralt, as well as Krystianer. And it is going to be a Protoss. A Protoss player that I hope has recovered from his injuries. It's going to be the German Protoss player, ForJumy. Let's go. ForJumy has arrived. And we have been casting a lot of ForJumy recently. We actually casted his Home Story Cup group. Home Story Cup Group A, from a month ago. And at the time, if you are unfamiliar with the story of ForJumy, he actually got injured. The week leading up to Home Story Cup, ForJumy was in a bike accident. Unfortunately, it was an accident, and he did injure his hand. Because of that, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to compete, and he wouldn't be able to take part in Home Story Cup. But he was able to. He was able to recover enough, but he was still injured. He was still injured, and as a result, in his Home Story Cup games, he cheesed every single game. Every single game. Some form of cheese, some form of all-in out of ForJumy. A big reason for that, I'm pretty sure, is 1, he was out of practice because he couldn't play, and also because of his hand injury, he couldn't go for, like, extended play either. It has been quite some time, though, so I'm sure he has recovered. Maybe. We'll see if his play has recovered. As we are getting into this and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the German Protoss. Representing himself, as he is currently teamless, it is ForJumy. And spawning. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the yellow Zerg player representing Team Starcom. It is the current King of the Hill, Wayne. Wayne with a pretty hefty win streak already. 3 wins under his belt. Can he go further? Or will he be stopped here and now? Again, I haven't been able to cast too much of ForJumy since Home Story Cup. I don't really know the level that he is currently at after that event. And how much he's been able to recover. Again, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully his hand is feeling good. No long-lasting effects from his injury. Less than 3, Pop. Less than 3. As Wayne is going for a hatch gas pool. Standard opener here from Wayne is able to get his natural up and running. ForJumy actually didn't pro block or didn't attempt to pro block at all. Did keep his workers back at home instead. See people catching up in the chat. How did Spirit lose against Wayne? Was it a timing push or a macro game? It was a failed timing push from Spirit. That is what happened with Spirit versus Wayne. As in, Spirit was very committed on 3 bases and wasn't able to break Wayne. And eventually he was just overpowered and overwhelmed, as Spirit was attempting to go for a later transition into his 4th. But I recommend checking out the VODs. It was a really good game. It was a really good game between Wayne and Spirit. Very good indeed. I recommend it. I recommend it. As we are getting into the swing of things. Oh my god, okay. ForJumy is going for a very unorthodox opener here. No Twilight Council, no Stargate, a very hidden pylon behind the natural base. He's going to be going for a Robo first instead. The Overlord is looking for that pylon, is checking behind the main base. Oh, he does reroute over towards the right-hand side and does come across the Robo. Wayne sees, Wayne knows. Now, there are a couple of different things you can go for. There are two. Oh my god, never mind. I love this man. Does go for the cancel once being scouted and is just going for something else entirely here. Back at home. Now, what I was going to say is that when it comes to a Robo opener, it could be a couple of different things. It could be something like a slow lot all in, could be more often than not a disruptor drop opener into a fast robotics bay, into disruptor production. Could be some kind of weird immortal based all in. You have a couple of different like fringe builds that you can go for, but alas, instead ForJumy does switch gears. Wayne is coming in for a scout, does confirm a 3rd base is being taken, and that does cross off a 2-base all in. So the likelihood of this being something like a disruptor drop opener is a little bit higher. As Wayne is getting ready back at home, saturating his bases, he's going for a Roach Warren around the 3-minute 50-ish mark. So a very early Roach Warren, expecting aggression from his opponents. Otherwise, you would delay this Roach Warren a lot longer. But what we don't have is Spores. That is something we do. Oh my god. No shot. So, when we were casting MaNa earlier on Cosmic Sapphire, I was talking about how like this like double Stargate play is something that we don't really get to see too often outside of maps like Altitude, maps like Near Humanity as well, and that's what we're seeing here. As a 2nd Stargate on the way, we're getting into double Stargate Void Ray. It's back. First Oracle is getting across the map again because of the Robo opener. We don't have any Spores in position, but the Queens are here in the main. The Oracle only gets 1, 2, 3 drone kills. Oh! Uh-oh. Oof. And is gonna go down as well. An overextension from ForJumy being a little bit too greedy. Does pay a big price for that. A big loss here, losing the Oracle only for 3 workers. But, doesn't matter. Because we have Skytoss. +1 air attack. Oh! +1 air attack gets scouted. Ay, ay, ay. Wayne. Papi. Oh, his scouting is so on point. He comes in with his Ling. He sees the Cybercore researching. It can only mean one thing. And we already have that Spire on the way. So Wayne, for the most part, has everything he needs to know. I say for the most part. Typically, it would be double Stargate carrier production with the Fleet Beacon, but the Overseer goes in, and Wayne sees the Void Rays. Sees 2 of them already out, 2 more on the way. Wayne gets confirmation as he canceled again. That was a Robotics Bay, by the way. There was a Robotics Bay on the way. ForJumy, he cancels and he throws down a Fleet Beacon. ForJumy's so fancy. I appreciate it. I appreciate that he's trying to catch Wayne off guard. Like time and time again, he's trying to like switch up his tech and keep his opponent guessing. Void Rays are moving out. With this Fleet Beacon, we can get into carrier production. Void Rays are spotted by these Lings, and Wayne is repositioning his queens, making sure he's able to hold on to that 5th base. Up. And the Void Rays are shooed away. 5th base is saved. The 4th is up and running. We have the Rich Besting Gas Geyser. With that, we can get into Corruptor production already. Void Rays are going to be ignoring the queens, and we should force a cancel. Barely were able to cancel in time. Up. Oof. I would say not a bad trade for ForJumy. He loses 1 Void Ray for a cancelled 4th that was about to finish. Less than ideal, though, as he is forced to recall. The Corruptors are looking for those Void Rays, but alas, they're gone. The Void Rays did recall, so Corruptors are looking for something that just isn't there any longer. Back at home. Oh my god. We have a bit of a -400, -400. Mama ship is on the way. I guess we're not getting into carrier production. We're rushing to the mothership. The Corruptors have arrived, though, and they're caustic spraying down that natural base. ForJumy has to be very careful here with how he does maneuver his army. So, interesting. It's ground toss. The Fleet Beacon is literally just for the mothership, and ForJumy, he's working on Immortals, he's working on Charge, +1, Templar Archives. He's building up a Charge Lot Archon base composition. Again, once again, just kind of keeping his opponent on his toes, showing one thing and going into another entirely. And we can see that Wayne, he may have just overinvested into these Corruptors. How many Corruptors do we have? Oh my... 20! We have 20 Corruptors. Again, Wayne is assuming that carriers are on the way. As the Zealot Runby is going to get shut down. And we do have some Void Rays, to be fair, but alas, we don't need this many Corruptors for it. And to be fair, do we have enough of a ground army? Here we go, we have a massive warp-in of Charge Lots. 7 at a time. More Banelings are on the way. The Corruptors are looking for some value. We still have a lot on the ground. A lot of Lingbane, a lot of Roach Ravager. The mothership has arrived. We do have an Overseer, thankfully. The Banelings are looking to roll on in. They're looking for those connections. They will connect with the Immortals. Overcharge trying to keep the mothership alive, but it goes down instantly. There's your -400, -400. God damn it. And ForJumy does hold on when it comes to the ground army, but the Corruptors, they're looking to find some kind of use here. They caustic spray down the Nexus. They try to be useful, and they are. They take down the base. And it looks like Wayne still may just have too much. The Ravagers are going down, though. But here come the Lings. The Ling reinforcements do take down the Immortals. The Biles, they connect as well. ForJumy just barely doesn't have enough. As he goes for a massive warp-in into the main base. He's trying to force Wayne to turn back around. But Wayne has plenty of reinforcements back at home. He is breaking into the 3rd. But I appreciate how ForJumy approached this. I do. As the Nexus is under threats, he's juggling his heart out. With these Archons, with these Immortals. Does hold on. Actually does save the 3rd. Across the map, he kills 7 workers. It's something. Unfortunately, ForJumy just doesn't have much of an economy. He lost his 4th. Barely has anything here at his 3rd. And Wayne is up to 77 workers. He's remaxing with Ling and Bane Roach Ravager. Still has plenty of Corruptors as well, just in case there were more Void Rays. And because of how small this map is, it doesn't take too long to rock up with another army. As this is going to be the last stand of ForJumy. Banelings are not the most efficient units to use against Archons, but it's too much. GG gets called, and Wayne will take down ForJumy. GG. That was fun, though. I loved it. GG, well played. Wayne does bring down ForJumy, despite the constant tech switches, the constant cancels on tech and throwing down something else entirely, whether it was the Robo into the Stargate or the Robotics Bay into the Fleet Beacon. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. GG, well played. And with that, Wayne is the first player tonight to get a 4th win under his belt. Oh. His reign is going to be long and strong here, as Wayne was also last week's OSC King of the Hill champion as well. I say champion, he was the last king of the hill last week. We'll see if he can do it again 2 weeks in a row. We shall see. As, oh, we have quite a lot of players rocking up. Oh my god. I was just looking at the in-game chat channel. We have Baby Marine, we have Mixu, we have YoungYakov. Mate, the next generation of pro gamers are all rocking up here, all looking for a chance to bring down Wayne. And we have our next challenger. They've all arrived. Alright, who's first? Who is gonna be first? It looks like we're gonna have another mirror matchup. Another mirror matchup. It is gonna be Wayne versus the next challenger. It is going to be YoungYakov. Let's go. Catching up. I am catching up. Wayne beat Spirits. Didn't know if it was a rich timing or not. No. Wayne did beat Spirit. It was a 3-base timing from Spirit that wasn't able to break Wayne. Wasn't able to break Wayne at all. And Spirit had a hard time transitioning into a longer game, into a 4th base. But it was pretty intense. It was a pretty intense game. Wayne went Ling Bane Muta. Ling Bane Muta. So very standard, very straight up from Wayne, actually. Very straight up. But here we go. We are getting ready for our next series. Looks like they're just conducting their vetoes and deciding on their next match. On their next map. For those wondering, again, the challenger does pick the map, and it is a best of 1, so Wayne is able to veto one map, and the challenger can pick from whatever they want, pick whichever map they want from there. Boy. So we'll see what he goes for. Meanwhile, I still think we have plenty of matches ahead of us as well. 15 best of 1s in total, and we are at match number 7. Match number 7. Halfway there. Sorry, match number 8. Match number 8. We are halfway there. More than halfway there at this point. And yeah, I expect to see players like YoungYakov, Mixu, Baby Marine, maybe Demaga later on, Kaz, Krystianer. Who are others that come to mind? HonMonO, he's always willing to jump in. Potentially Bjorn and Dark. Bjorn and Dark, they are members of OSC Elite, but they are not the most consistent signups. Every now and then, maybe once every couple of weeks, they do rock up and they have a dominant performance. But we'll see. We'll see if they do appear. Who else comes to mind? SpeCial, Juanito. SpeCial is another player. Max Pax. Nicoract, and yeah, many others. We have a wide variety of players from different regions. It's always a lot of fun to watch them, to cast some Demi. I saw Demi in the chat earlier. We might see some Demi later. Some Demi action. So a lot to look forward to. Beyond joie, exactly. But for now, it looks like we may go on a short break. The players, I think they need. I wouldn't be surprised if Wayne needs a break after all those games, after all those matches. So we're gonna take a moment here. Gonna take a moment to have a break, to get some water. I know I'm actually out. I could do with a refill on water. Get some water. Go to the bathroom. Get some snacks, and we'll see you guys momentarily. With some more StarCraft action with a ZVZ. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you did take that moment to hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage all of your marines, because we don't have any more time for that. We have our players ready and waiting. We are getting into that ZVZ that we were promised. Wayne versus YoungYakov. Let's go. And here we have him, the current reigning king of the hill, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gresvan, representing Team Starcom. It is Wayne. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing CSO Esports. It is YoungYakov. Not our first ZVZ of the night, but the first one that we had was a very peculiar one. We casted Wayne versus MeomaikA, and MeomaikA did have a very, very aggressive kind of response and reaction on altitude. For those that weren't there, MeomaikA did go for a 12 pull into a 2-base Roach all-in, which Wayne was able to prepare for and defend quite beautifully against on altitude. But now, we have a very stark contrast here between that previous series. Here we have a hatch first from both YoungYakov and from Wayne. So very standard openers, hatch, gas pool all around. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy to kick things off. Again, kind of what I expect here from these two players. A lot more standard, a lot more macro oriented, at least initially. We'll see where we can go from here. For now, I imagine they're both going to be working on their third bases as well. I can't imagine we're going to be going for 2-base play on Gresvan especially. It is a bit of a larger map, a lot of bases to be taken. The entryway into the natural is a lot wider. It's very large, very wide open. Can be a little bit difficult to try to pull that off on. And a lot of this is going to come down to the third base. And of course, the action that does take place there, if they do try to deny each other's third or not. As for now, we're chilling. We just be chilling. Again, YoungYakov is a really dangerous player. Famously, of course, YoungYakov, I don't want to confuse him. I don't want to confuse him with any other Zerg player, of course, but I believe YoungYakov famously did bring down, was it Raynor or Cyril? It was one of them. I know Wayne did. Yeah, as Wayne did bring down Cyril a couple of months ago at this point in ESL Masters. For now, though, Wayne is going to just be forced back. Third bases are being taken from both of these players. And we have a bathing nest on the way as well. So again, everything's looking normal. And I did confuse YoungYakov with Soul Spirit. That's what I was thinking of. Soul Spirit did famously bring down Raynor. Not YoungYakov. Not yet. YoungYakov famously actually brought down Dark. It was actually a really impressive showing that we were able to cast him. It was in the OSC mid-season playoffs a month ago, almost 2 months ago, where YoungYakov was able to pop off. But here we go. Wayne is gonna be the aggressor. He's just flooding his lings across the map. Banelings are on the way as well. Can YoungYakov hold on to his third? As the lings have arrived. They're getting us around on the third base. Banelings are still on the way for YoungYakov. We're trading 2 for 2, but there's still so many lings available here for Wayne. Baneling comes in from behind. Not the best connection here, but now YoungYakov, he's barely holding on, but no, he loses his last Baneling. No more Banelings are left. He has to wait a little bit longer for another one to come out. But the hatchery is getting very low. And the hatchery will fall. Wayne, he had to invest a lot. He had to invest so much in bringing down that base, but he did. And now he has to defend. Now he has to back off. YoungYakov, he has roaches on the way, as he threw down a very fast roach warren in his main. And the roaches are being spotted. Drones are being focused down. YoungYakov is focusing on his push across the map. Is going to be bleeding out a couple of these lings. Looking at the armies here, YoungYakov does have a bit of an advantage, but it's taking a long time for the roaches to get across the map. And Wayne has his own defensive roaches as well. Baneling's going to zone away those lings. A couple of roaches are going down. Do we have enough here for YoungYakov? He does have reinforcements coming in. As he takes a Baneling to the face. And it looks like with the defender's advantage, Wayne is holding on. He takes down another 2 drones across the map. He's getting on top of the roaches. And he's shutting down this push. Even chasing down the roaches that are attempting to escape. They're not going to get away. Not against Wayne. Now Wayne has the momentum. He has a third base behind him for that extra larva. YoungYakov still trying to get his own third up and running. He's on the back foot. Down to only 4 roaches. Again, there was a window of opportunity earlier when he did go for his own attack, but alas, just barely didn't have enough. Wayne too far ahead. Thankfully for Wayne, he also went for a fast roach warren as well. He's able to overpower YoungYakov. GG. Wayne will take down YoungYakov, claiming another victory. GG. YoungYakov, it was so close. He barely wasn't able to hold on to that third base. Barely just wasn't ready for how aggressive Wayne was being. And again, that counterattack, likewise, just barely could not break Wayne either. And Wayne continues to be the king of the hill, continues his reign here over all of these players in OSC. But we still have plenty more ahead of us. We still have plenty more challengers. I mentioned some of them earlier. I mentioned some of the players that are lying in wait. We have Baby Marine, we have Mixu, we have Nikich, we have Demi. Who's coming out? Who is coming out? We're here to find out. For now, I don't know. We will see. It's not up to me, it's up to Eddie. It's up to old mate Eddie, the, of course, organizer of this tournament. Not just the tournament, but also the CEO of OSC Esports as well. He's the puppet master. He pulls the strings, does orchestrate all of the storylines here between which player faces which player. And, oh, we are going back to Southeast Asia. We're going back to the land of the sea. The ZVZs will not be stopping. Oh boy. We've still got a couple more Zerg versus Zergs in us. It is going to be Demi, the shark himself, Demi from the land of India. He has, of course, been doing quite well for himself. Recently, he joined Maturino Esports in the ashes of Alpha X. Maturino has kind of risen from that, and I know Demi has taken more of like a managerial role, more of a player coach in a way where he's, I say player coach, where he's kind of just helping organize the players and I imagine organize team league matches, especially with the up and coming WTL season. So I know Demi has kind of been stepping into more of that kind of role as well, supporting players like Estrella, like Future, but likewise Demi is still not a bad player himself. Like, he has been practicing, has been improving, has been streaming recently, actually, more so than usual, so it's been really cool to see his streams. But can he keep up with a player like Wayne? It's going to be a tough ask, especially in a mirror matchup. Especially considering how much trouble MeomaikA had earlier. We'll see if Demi can bring something different to the table here. No Terrans win yet. Kappa. We haven't had that many Terrans, unfortunately. We've only had Spirit so far, but I'm sure we'll have more Terrans ahead of us. You know, I'm sure Nicoract is on the horizon, Baby Marine, Cuckoo as well. They're the first that come to mind. We almost had Quanta. I'm sure Quanta and HonMonO are going to be willing to come out as well. When it comes to the Korean Terran side of things, we'll get there. We'll get there. We will get there. Oh, I was talking about the mid-season playoffs earlier. I was talking about how like YoungYakov had an amazing performance against Dark. But I was unaware that the event actually ended. I didn't know. I didn't know about it. I think it was covered by Wardy. Yeah. The later stages were covered by Wardy. So really cool to see, really cool to see. For those wondering, the way this works is OSC Esports, they used to organize a bunch of weekly tournaments in the past, like the OSC Melee and the Community Cup. Nowadays, I think they mainly organize events like this, like OSC King of the Hill, and they partner with a bunch of online tournaments, like our very own online tournaments here on the CranKy Ducklings. Players, they actually aggregate OSC points over the course of the year, over the course of all of these events, and kind of similar to, I guess, I Am Katowice, how the players are seeded and invited depending on how many points they have. Very similar thing with OSC. And as a result, they have these biannual events. They have an end-of-year event, of course, but they also have an event in the middle of the year as well. Or mid-season, I should say, mid-season. And yeah, it's really cool to see that, of course, OSC and Eddie are still supporting StarCraft and still hosting all of these big events as well. A lot of money on the line, of course, and yeah, you know, things like OSC, they do kind of lead into that as well. Well, OSC King of the Hill, they will lead into that as well. So a lot that these players are working on, a lot that they're fighting for, I should say. Really cool to see. It's been many years now, actually, that OSC have been supporting StarCraft. It's been like, what, 7, 8 years? Long time. Long time, puppy, long time. It's been great to see, great to see. I was actually just catching up because I think this ended a couple of days ago. The mid-season playoffs ended a couple of days ago, and Beyond won. Oh my god. Beyond took down Solar in the finals. Impressive, impressive. I was just quickly catching up with some of the StarCraft news. As we are getting into our next game, let's go. We have one of the new maps. We've been showing off Cosmic Sapphire from time to time, and again, that's a bit of an older map, an old school map. But now we have a new map, a map that hasn't existed in a ladder map pool yet. We are loading in to Calliope. Calliope? As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Calliope, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Maturino Esports. It is Demi. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the yellow Zerg player representing Team Starcom. It is Wayne. Oh boy, here we go. So for the very first time, I believe, when it comes to the maps that players voted on, it wasn't just... Oh, do we have a pool first? Oh my. But it wasn't just old maps that players voted on, but players also voted on one of the TLMC maps. And that happens to be this one here, Calliope, which again hasn't been a part of the ladder map pool yet. And don't misunderstand, there is no confirmation that this map will be a part of the ladder map pool in the future either. This is just a map that players voted on. It's a map from TLMC that the players are like, you know what? We want to play on this map. It's happening. And he's like, okay. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So it's great to see a very extravagant map as well. It's very very pleasing to the eyes. It's very shiny. I love it. Aesthetically pleasing. Oh. But for now, Wayne is going for a pool first opener, a pool into a gas into his hatchery as well. So I would say quite defensive here overall. It looks like Wayne was expecting, similar to MeomaikA, he was expecting Demi to go for a Link Flood, to go for a 12 pool. So Wayne is just preparing himself for that. He's going to be sending his links across the map, looking to gain value here for the sub-optimal, the not quite economic opener that Wayne decided to go for. Again, Demi has an economic lead because he went for a hatch first, has a higher drone count. Wayne has to make up for that with the links that he made. He has to try to maybe get a couple of these worker kills. There we go. He does force Demi off the line. Demi has to be very careful here with his control. Very delicate micro. Doesn't want to lose anything. Doesn't want to lose any of his drones. As he does force Wayne back. Behind this, Wayne is going for a bit of a scout. Oh, and he will confirm as well as Wayne doubles back. He does get eyes on the Baleen Nest. A very fast Baleen Nest here from Demi. Here's a big sign of aggression. I'm sure Wayne is going to be getting ready back at home as he goes for his own third. Demi actually not going for a third base of his own. Interesting here as Wayne goes for that triangular third. Now, there are a lot of kind of entryways here. There's a very large map over on the left-hand side. Two smaller... very large ramp on the left hand side, some smaller ramps here as well. I think one of the most interesting things that I've seen is the Reaper Cliff. There's actually like different ways to go up into that second level to get into the main base. I believe you cannot siege a tank here. I think it's too narrow, but you can place Marines. Marines can definitely be dropped there. In that little area. I don't think they can really affect too much of the mining, but regardless, like, just a really interesting feature that we don't get to see too often here. As we do see Demi making quite a lot of links back at home. He is going for a massive all-in, amassing nothing but links. He does have a third base on the way, sure, and Wayne is pushing out across the map. His own Baleen Nest is a little bit later. His Roach one is later as well. Demi is looking to end things here and now. Oof, as he does push Wayne back. And as long as Wayne has a couple of Banelings back at home, he can defend. It's all going to come down to the control. It's all going to come down to the micro. As Banelings are also on the way for Demi. Does get a surround on the Queen. Oh! It's going to be forced back for the time being. With the abundance of Lings that he has, he's going to be able to overwhelm those Lings. Oh, but the Banelings do arrive. Oh no! Demi, he does take a big Baneling to the face. And that may just be it. Does take down the Queens. He has a couple of Banelings to spare, but the Roaches come out. And with the arrival of the Roaches, that's the end of the aggression. Demi has to back off. GG gets called. And Wayne will take down the Shark of the Sea, Demi. GG. GG, well played. I'm always torn because I know that it's a new map and we want to look at the map, we want to like discuss some of the features of the map as well. But at the same time, Demi was going all in, so I had to kind of focus on the game itself. But I'm sure that's not the last we've seen of Calliope. I'm sure we'll be able to, you know, kind of delve into it a little bit further later on. It's not the first time we've casted on Calliope. We have been able to cast it a couple of times, especially last week and the week before that. So yeah, it is a part of the regular map pool for this tournament series, and this is a weekly tournament, so I'm sure we'll be breaking in Calliope quite a bit over the next couple of months. GG, well played. Wayne will hold on to his throne, will hold on to his crown. Was a tight defense there, but sometimes one bailing is all it takes. Again, also very wise of Wayne to go for that roach warren when he did. Again, with the arrival of the roaches, that did just spell end to the aggression there from Demi completely at this point. And we have our next challenger. Oh my god, we are not stopping with the mirror matchups. Okay. We are not slowing down. Let me just double check this. I want to make sure he's still on the team. I want to make sure he's still on the team that I think he's on. Okay, we're good. Representing Berserker Esports, our next challenger is going to be Mixu, the Finnish Zerg player. Let's go. Just getting everything ready. The guy streaming? No. The organizer of the tournaments. The organizer of the tournaments. Any other Polish players coming up? Anyone know? Maybe. The answer to that is maybe another Polish player. There are a lot of Polish players that typically take part in this tournament, like Krystianer and Geralt. We already had MaNa, we already had Spirit. But we aren't privy to that information. We don't know who comes out next. It's not up to us. It's not up to us. It's up to Eddie. Up! As we are going to have to remake. We are going to have to remake. Ay. Ah. All good. Lots of decoration and different colors. Yeah, it's very appealing to the eye. Calliope. Very fancy. How many wins does Wayne have so far? I believe that was his 6th win? Let me just double check that. Don't want to put the wrong number down. Yep, there we go. We are diving into our next game, into our next best of one, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of altitude, we have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. He's our next challenger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the current king of the hill. His reign has been long, it's been dark, it's been full of terrors. It is representing Team Starcom, Wayne. 6 wins under his belt. A lot of them have been down to these ZVZs. We have been getting a lot of them recently, and boy, can Mixu do what the other Zerg players have failed to do. MeomaikA and Demi have attempted to go for all-ins against YoungYakov. Wayne went for his own very aggressive style against him. So clearly Wayne has shown us that he's willing to be the defender. also willing to be the aggressor as well. Again, he's a very well-rounded player. When I do think of Mixu, I do think that he's more of a standard or a macro-oriented player as well. I don't necessarily see him cheesing too often or being too aggressive. I guess the ZVZ is a little bit different. We can, of course, see players that are typically a lot more mild-mannered be more aggressive in nature here with Roaches, with Ling Vane. I'm ready for it. It's going to be difficult, though. On a map like Altitude, it makes sense. You know, when I think of Mixu, I think macro, and that's also what I think of when I see Altitude. It's a very large map, a lot of bases. It's why it was also really crazy of MeomaikA to go for a 12 pull on this map, just because the rush distance is so long, it's so large. Going for all-ins, it's a difficult thing to do, and MeomaikA, a big reason why he does that sort of thing on a map like Altitude is because of the surprise factor. In your mind, you're probably thinking, there's no way that he's going to all-in me and 2-base all-in me on Altitude, right? It's like, oh, well, he does. It doesn't work, but, you know, he's working against norms in a way. Alas, it didn't work in the previous series. It didn't work for MeomaikA. We'll see what our players have in store for us here for our next game. As for now, hatch gas pool, gases are on the way, wing speed is on the way. Third base should be thrown down momentarily as well for both players, both from Wayne and from Mixu as well. Do love to see it. I was gonna say that because the map is a little bit larger, we could see some players try and skip Baneling Nests, but no, Baneling Nests are thrown down for both players. You can see Mixu actually having a bit of a better trade here with his initial Lings as well. Do love to see it. But outside of our first couple of Lings, we are just droning. We do have 6 more Lings on the way here for Mixu. He could try and be a little bit more aggressive, and there it is. Did I say 6? I meant to say 14, 16 more Lings from Mixu. He does want to be in the face of Wayne. He does want to try and shut down this third. At the same time, Wayne is going to be scouting. He's going to be checking. He does see the abundance of Lings coming across the map, and now he's going to be getting ready back at home. We have 3 Banelings on the way. Likewise, Banelings also on the way here on the front lines for Mixu. It's going to come down to the control. Up! First Baneling does... Oh, actually, first 2 Banelings go up. Some good trades here for Mixu. Can he take down that last Baneling? Looks like he barely cannot. Up! He barely does. Likewise, though, not the best trades with his own Banelings, but it looks like he will bring down this third. Did a great job at zoning away the army of Wayne. And now Wayne is on the back foot. As a result, he's sending everything across the map. Lings and... Oh, no! Lings and Banelings. Mixu has to be very careful here with his defense. Especially considering he still has a lot of Lings across the map. He does delay the third base once again. Taking down that drone. Oh. So we don't quite trade 2 for 2. Oh, not the best trade for Mixu once again. Taking another... No! Taking 2 massive Banelings to the face. Lings, they do get in. Focusing down the workers. Meanwhile, Mixu doesn't turn around. No! Takes more Banelings. Mixu not quite paying attention. He was focusing on his defense back at home. The aggression has ended. Now, to be fair, after all said and done, even though Wayne did trade more efficiently with his Banelings, especially towards the end, Mixu has a much higher worker count. Mixu has a third base. It's okay. He can afford to lose some Lings. He has a base. He has a better worker count. He has queens. As long as he's able to hold on to it. Because Wayne has returned with a vengeance. He's looking for a surround on that queen. He is going to get it. Banelings are waddling in. The queen goes down. Oh. Likewise, Wayne. Wayne loses a Baneling. Mixu also manually detonates another Baneling as well. We're flustered, Papi. We're flustered. Calm down. As Mixu holds on, what's important is that he didn't lose any drones. Hello? Remember when I said earlier that Wayne was sending everything across the map? I didn't mean literally. Queen, where are we going? Go back home, Papi. You're lost. No. As the Queen is going on a bit of an adventure. Just wanted to see what it was like over the hill. On the other side of altitude. Oof. Mixu likewise does actually take a bailing into his mineral line as all 2 drones go down. Could have been a lot worse. As the Queen has been revealed. And Mixu recognizes as well that he's not being all in, so he's going to be cancelling that spine crawl, or at least one of them. Oh, the Queen does go down. And we do see that Wayne is able to catch up in workers. What I should say is that Mixu still has been mining more for longer, so Mixu still has the better economic advantage, and with that has a pretty large roach army. Across the map, Wayne is taking. We do have a Spire on the way for our yellow Zerg player. So far, completely unscouted by Mixu. And even though Mixu has a large roach advantage and has more roaches on the way, can hit a really crisp timing with +1. If this goes unscouted, mutas, they can do so well in altitude. Because this map is so large, they can dance between the bases, they can get map control. It can be really difficult to punish this as Mixu comes in and sees the Spire. Very important scout by Mixu. Hydrogen is thrown down immediately. We do have the Hydrogen for anti-air. Before that happens, Mixu is pushing out with his ground army. He knows that there's a window that he has to take advantage of. He has to make use of his army here and now. Does force a lot of roaches out of Wayne, and Mixu is going to back off. And as the dust settles, things are pretty even. I say even, I think I want to give the edge to Mixu a little bit more, just because his Hydra tech is superior to that of the mutas. Like with Hydras, you gain access to lurkers as well, as the mutas have arrived, and we have only invested in 5 mutas. Fun fact, 5 mutas is enough to one-shot a worker, is enough to take control of the map as well. Wayne is focusing on roach production, and as we have a bit of a bailing run by 5 workers go down, but he's focusing on roach production. Mixu has to be careful. Mixu has to be careful not to make too many Hydras, not to make too much anti-air, because the main brunt of the army here of Wayne is going to be ground, not air. And Hydras are not the best unit against roaches. Lurkers are amazing, but we don't have a lurker den. We have an infestation pit. And this is for hive tech, this is for vipers. Eventual lurker upgrade, sure. But we don't have that lurker den. And we're still making more Hydras. We need lurker den, not gonna lie. We have infestors on the way. Mixu taking these mutas very seriously. They are getting damage done. How many overlords have gone down? 3 so far. We'll get a 4th. Oh boy, and this is a pretty intense army from Wayne. Mixu is the first to max out, but I do think Wayne has a better composition. It does still come down to the engagement. We'll see if the Bailings can connect with the Hydras, as the Hydras are so squishy, so vulnerable. Here we go, the Roachbane is pushing in. Mixu has the better concave. As I say that, he's going to push out, he's going to spot the army. We do have infestors, we have fungals, up! As the roaches stand strong, the Bailings are trying to roll in, and they don't make it past the roaches. Oh, some of them do. Yeah, we can see Wayne just brute force his way through the army of Mixu. And there just isn't enough left. Even upgrades, but again, too many Hydras for Mixu. The Bailings were good enough. And the roaches are superior. Yeah, boys have to be pulled, but Wayne, he's snowballing out of control. As I say that, we do have reinforcements coming in. But there's still mutas in the sky. Boys are being pulled, drones are falling. And the fourth base has been broken. Behind this, Wayne, you know, he's got his own fourth up and running, has it saturated as he needs it to be. More boys are being fooled. It was a close one. But GG gets called, and Wayne continues to be the king of the hill here, bringing down Mixu 1-0. GG. Was a good effort though. Was an impressive showing from Mixu. Definitely had his own advantages. Did a great job at sniping the third base, of course, of Wayne twice, even if you remember. He did snipe it. He did kill it the first time and then canceled it the second time. Did a great job at going for those bailing run-bys as well. But it did feel like he overreacted. He overreacted to the mutas, and going so heavily into both Hydras and Infestors as well. Things that are great against mutas, don't get me wrong. Not so much against a ground-based army like Roach Bailing. Oh, was just a bit too much. And yeah, with that, wow, my god, that's the 7th win now for Wayne. 7 wins, my god. I did see someone earlier asking about a Polish player. Of course, we got you, Papi. We got you. We are going to be featuring another Polish player. Of course, it is a Polish Protoss player, as to be expected. Both Geralt, MeomaikA are very regular competitors in this tournament. It is going to be neither of those, though. It is going to be Krystianer. Oh. Un momento. Again, one of the stronger Protoss players out there in Poland. I do kind of relate him to Geralt a little bit. I do think they're both quite similar. I guess similar in skill, not similar in style. They do have very different play styles. I should emphasize that. As we are getting into this and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the red Polish Protoss player representing Team Blazer. It is the new challenger, Krystianer. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the current king of the hill with 6 wins under his belt. Representing Team Starcom, it is Wayne. AKA Radita, AKA Vanya. Ay. Here we go. Now, to be fair, that last game was pretty close. Mixu, he had a really good start. He had a really strong start against Wayne. It was the follow-up that was a little bit, that unfortunately wasn't quite what it needed to be. Again, I do think that Mixu reacted a little bit too hard to the muta play, to the Spire tech of Wayne, and was a little bit caught off guard by the amount of ground army of roaches and bailings that he was up against. Was a close one, though. Was a close one. GG. And now we're finally free. We are free from the mirror matchups. We're free from the ZVZs. We have some Protoss ahead of us, and I'm sure some Terran down the line as well. I'm sure. Do not worry. As Wayne is going for a hatch gas pool, very standard, very economic here out of our Zerg player. Krystianer just being a little bit annoying. Tasing away at those drones. Across the map, Krystianer likewise going for his gate expand into the cyber core. Likewise, a very economic opener as well. And we'll see how Krystianer approaches this matchup. An interesting choice. It was Krystianer's map pick, and he goes for Ancient Cistern of all maps. A very large map, very wide open in the center as well. A lot of bases to be taken. Now, when I think of Krystianer, especially in this matchup, I feel like he thrives a lot more in the mid game. He's not a late game kind of player. He thrives a lot with this kind of death ball of an army, you know, Blink Stalkers, Gateway units, Immortals, Archons. That's where he typically does thrive. But I wonder if he has a different response here for Wayne. I wonder what his approach is going to be. Despite what his tendencies are, Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't casted too much of Krystianer recently. I think the last time we casted him was the Chaos Tournament, the Polish LAN, maybe a month ago. We were able to showcase Krystianer then and there. But we mainly casted him against Protoss. I think we casted him against Geralt, if I'm not mistaken. And we may have casted him against a laser as well. But it's a laser, Poppy. I mean, as the first adepts have arrived, gonna be threading a shade into the main base. Plenty of links to keep up with this though, and oh, we actually commit to the shade. Bold move here by Krystianer. He does get 2 drones, but he's gonna get surrounded. Not too sure if that was quite worth it in the end. 2 workers is nice, but again, he does relinquish quite a lot of map control with that. Was a Stargate opener straight into that Oracle. Interesting, Krystianer, he's gonna delay his 3rd. The 3rd base is delayed in favor of a very fast robo. Oh boy. Oracle does rock up and does get another 2 drone kills, is able to escape with his life. So not too bad here from Krystianer. But again, this follow-up is very interesting. We have the robo, we have the Twilight Council. This is looking like a 2 base all-in, as we have 3 more gates on the way. Krystianer may opt for a later 3rd. I think I'm getting some deja vu, and I think I've seen Krystianer play like this before. As he's gonna find some more damage. Forces a gas geyser, forces more spores. Very nice damage done, especially considering that Krystianer didn't get a 2nd or 3rd Oracle. He's actually done quite a lot here with only 1. Pretty impressive, as yeah, Krystianer is setting up for an expansion. A very late expansion though, as the Nexus is thrown down. Again, we got the Robo as well as the Templar Archives and Twilight Council before it. The pressure is on Krystianer. He has to make this worth it. He has to make this delayed 3rd actually worth his while. I should say this faster Robo worth his while. And he's going for a very offbeat Archon drop. The Templar Archives does finish just in time for this drop. Again, very offbeat, very off timing. Designed to catch Wayne off guard. And Wayne hasn't been able to scout the main or the natural. He doesn't know. As the Archons do come in, and they're going to get quite a lot of damage. 3 drones already. They're going to be threatening the Queens as well. Looks like they do get 1. A Queen and 3 drones. Not too bad here for Krystianer. Again, Wayne wasn't able to see, wasn't able to scout. 2 adepts shade into the natural. 8 drones in total go down. Wayne, he's struggling to keep up. But again, this is necessary damage. Because this 3rd base is so late, there was a lot of pressure on Krystianer to do some kind of economic damage here to Wayne. And he did it. He was able to pull it off. And it's not over. The Archons, they still stand strong. They take down all these Lings. And they can threaten even more mineral lines as well. As they rotate into the main. Meanwhile, Krystianer, he's going into a very fast infestation pit. Very peculiar. This could just be for a fast hive. Another drone goes down. This could be for fast hive tech. We could be looking to rush into lurkers. No, we're going for swarm hosts. Oh my god. Dark, is that you? Swarm hosts are on the way. Something we don't see often enough, but it does work very well against army compositions that lacks too many Stargate units, that lack Blink Stalkers as well. And he's accurately reading, especially with this Archon drop, that it's going to be Charge Lot Archon. And Swarm Host can actually do surprisingly well against them. The reason for this is, especially with Nidus play, a Charge Lot Archon Immortal composition isn't the most mobile army. So it has a hard time really punishing Swarm Host, getting on top of Nidus Worms, and really denying them. But I'm concerned because as amazing as Swarm Host can be, and we do have a Nidus here that's going to be threatening the main base, Krystianer's already attacking. He's already pushing out. If Wayne sends his Locust Wave across the map. He won't have it to defend, and he may just die. I think we need the Swarm Host back at home, Papi. The Swarm Host, they do send their wave across the map. The army has arrived. We do have some roaches to defend. Is it going to be enough? We do have more Ravagers on the way. This hatchery is going to go down. Meanwhile, the Locust Wave dives on top of the natural base. Nexus will fall. Damage is done, and Krystianer, he doesn't keep pushing. He backs off. He kills one hatchery, and he's forced to recall back home. This is worth it for Wayne. Very worth it here for Wayne. He's able to recharge those Locust Waves. He has those Swarm Hosts ready for another push. Oh, the Immortal! No! Immortal is barely not caught out. Nidus was cleaned up earlier. But again, Wayne, he's ready for another wave of those Swarm Hosts. Second Nidus is thrown down over on the right-hand side. Krystianer, he hasn't replaced that Nexus. He's expanding and taking another base instead. A Stasis Trap does go off. Uh-oh. Massive Stasis Trap on that army. Zealot Runby is being cleaned up back at home. Krystianer, he can focus on the main fight. Storm is still a couple of seconds away. He needs a little bit more time, as he's not able to capitalize on that stasis. Zealot Runby is actually getting damage done. 7 drones go down. Ooh, the base is denied once again. Wayne, he's stuck on 3 bases. Uh-oh. Wayne, he cannot get a 4th. He doesn't really have much of an economy. He has a super maxed army instead. Wayne is down to 52 workers. 52 drones. Which means if Wayne loses this army, he's going to have a hard time replacing it. He's going to have a hard time rebuilding as 10 more workers go down. Prism still active across the map. The Nidus falls, and yeah, Krystianer, he's diving on this Roach army. Oof. Locust Wave is going to slow him down. The High Templar does get sniped. He has 3 more storms left. Oof. As the Zealot Warpins don't stop. Oh god! They do not stop. A good force fields. Another massive chunk of roaches go down. And Krystianer has made his way across the map. He still has storms available. The Swarm Hosts, they're not at home to defend. Once again, they're attacking instead. But they're coming back home. Uh-oh. No! They come across the army. 3 of them go down. It may be worth it, though. The Locust Waves, they focus on the High Templar. This still feels very close, but this army is looking very exposed. Wayne is collapsing on this. We need more gateway units here to buffer. We force a recall. And every High Templar goes down. Oh, we have more, though. Jesus. Every High Templar was sniped, but we have so many more waiting back at home. Oh my god. Is it enough? Is it enough, Papi? Is another massive storm in the Morphing in Ravagers? We are lacking those Archons, though. No more Archons with the army. No shield battery. No overcharge. Even without the overcharge, Krystianer, he's barely holding on, but Wayne is getting his 4th back up and running. This is still really close. Even though Wayne has been up in supply, he doesn't have an economy. Like, the Zealot Rumbys have been crippling him. And his supply is inflated because of the Roach Ravager, so this is still kind of neck and neck. As he avoids the main army, he goes for a massive counterattack instead. Krystianer, he's out of position. Gateways are depowered. Zealot Runby getting a lot of damage done across the map of the High Templar. Oh. They have to be very careful. They're so delicate. We need to save them against those Swarm Hosts, and it looks like they will survive. 9 drones went down across the map. Wayne down to 40 workers. Yeah, and again, there's just not enough at home to defend. Krystianer is gaining momentum. 10, 11 more drones go down. The roaches are busy back at home. Zealots once again knocking down that 4th base. Wayne, he's tried to get this 4th up and running like 3 or 4 times. At every turn, he's stopped by these Zealots. Wayne does overextend a little bit, and we do have another massive Locust Wave. It's gonna take down the base. Oof. Krystianer also down to only 2 bases. Does lose the Nexus. It's getting very scrappy. GG gets called though. It's too much. Wayne taps out with 35 workers, and Krystianer, he's the Kingslayer. He takes down Wayne. GG. Oh my god. Oh. GG, well played. Wayne out of money, out of steam, taps out. And he had a massive run. He had an insane win streak, but he is brought down by the Polish Protoss player. Oh my god. Could Wayne have stuck it out? Maybe, potentially. I mean, Krystianer though, he still was able to preserve his High Templar. He was able to have a good enough economy to sustain himself. Wayne not so much. Like, he was pretty all in. He was very all in with how he was playing, with just the lack of bases and the lack of economy. GG. GG. Wayne had a good run though. How many wins? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 wins under his belt. Very impressive performance out of Wayne. But no king rules forever. He is stopped here. And Krystianer, all hail, the new king of the hill. Krystianer has done it. And he already has his next opponent, his next challenger. It's going to be a Terran. It's going to be Nicoract. Oh. Here we go. Second Terran of the tournament. They have been a rarity tonight. To be fair, Funada Quanta. Quanta was supposed to play earlier, but he was MIA, so Quanta wasn't able to compete. But now we have our second Terran of the night. Pretty powerful one. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern. We have the new challenger. We have the second Terran player of OSC King of the Hill, 145, representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player. We have the newly crowned King of the Hill, representing Team Blazer. It is Krystianer. Oh boy. Hello, Mixu SCV. What do we have in store? We have a proxy Rax. Oh boy, or do we? As we have our first Rax back at home, of course. Nicoract going for 2 gases here, so quite an aggressive opener from Nicoract. Not economic. Is going to be walling off here with this depot. This is a little bit inefficient, but it does keep Krystianer in the dark as to what Nicoract is up to. This Rax is about to finish, and it looks like we're waiting for it to finish, and oh, no, never mind. It is still that proxy Rax across the map. I was... because it was so close to finishing up here, I was like, are we going to proxy a factory? No. It's going to be a proxy Rax, so... Reaper production is commencing here for Nicoract. And Krystianer is in the dark. He is wise to this, though. He's aware of the potential of a proxy, and he's going to be scouting towards the northern section of the map. Unfortunately, he's not scouting here towards the south. He is checking the wrong area, and oh boy, this could kill him. Likewise, he's also not making, or is he going to make a zealot? Looks like he's going to be skipping out on that zealot as well. He's going to be doubling back, waiting for the cybercore for his first unit, and we are getting a proxy factory. It's a one base all in. Nicoract is going for a one base all in. So far, completely unscouted. So far, Krystianer has no idea what's happening. Just waiting for that cybercore before he works on his first units. The Reaper will arrive at a standard timing. Nothing is really out of the norm so far. He's going to dip in. He's going to be looking to harass that mineral line. Oof, and he's forcing a lot of probes back. A probe will go down. And the Reaper production is not stopping. We have Hellions on the way. Are we going to proxy a starport? May as well. May as well, as the Reapers dip in between the bases. Oh, this one Adept on its own is going to have a hard time keeping up. There are no shield batteries. No safety shield batteries were thrown down, and this Adept is going to fall. Oh boy. This is getting out of hand. The shield battery halfway done. But more Reapers have arrived. Boys have to be pulled, and this is going to be a tough hold for Krystianer. The Hellion arrives as well, meets up with the Reapers, and this may just be it. We do have a second Adept. They do get within range of the shield battery. But Nicoract has control of the main base. He has control of the ramp. Overcharge is popped. But again, Nicoract, he can take a fight. He can take a fight as he's going to clean up whatever is left in the main base. Oracle is on the way, though. The Oracle will come out. Does Nicoract have enough to break the natural? It looks like he is going to respect this. He's going to back off, and he's going to lose a lot in the process. He still did kill 16 probes, to be fair. And he's not done. The Oracle is out of energy, and the Hellions, they want that mineral line so badly. Oof. The boys are being pulled into Hellions. I do hate to see it. Shield battery's out of energy. Krystianer is running out of steam. He does come out with a second Oracle. But he's already down to 15 workers. Oof. Down to 12. 12 workers left. Back at home, Nicoract, he's transitioning. We have a CC on the way. As he's just been continuing to pump out nothing but Hellions and Reapers. He did not proxy the starport, and he's working on a Viking. That's really the only thing that's concerning to Nicoract is Oracle harass. If the Oracles move out, they could potentially kill a mineral line, but we will soon have some anti-air. As the Reapers do dive back in. Krystianer, he's down to 7 probes. He worked so hard for his crown, Papi. He worked so hard bringing down Wayne. It was a very close game. A very close best of 1 earlier. Krystianer, he worked hard to bring down Wayne, but alas, GG gets called as Nicoract takes down the King of the Hill, and he's our new king of said hill. GG. GG, well played. A bit of a short reign for Krystianer, unfortunately, but hey, he does get that 1 win on the board. At least he does at least have the accolade of bringing down Wayne, a player that went on a terrifying win streak. But again, it's just going to be a momentary victory here for Krystianer as he does pass the crown over to Nicoract. Yeah, we have a new King of the Hill. GG. GG, well played. A very aggressive build from Nicoract. Unfortunately, Krystianer was in the dark. He tried to scout, but he wasn't able to. Unfortunately, he was also checking the northern portion of the map instead of the southern portion, so he kind of flipped a coin and was unable to find the proxy in the end. On top of that, he also wasn't playing too safe. If he was afraid of aggression, then we should have seen a shield battery in the main base much earlier as well, but we never got that from Krystianer. So he was just cutting some corners, playing a little bit risky, and yeah, just wasn't expecting Nicoract to one base all in him. I don't blame him. It doesn't happen too often. Doesn't happen too frequently. GG. Oh boy, as the floodgates are open, you let one Terran in and they all come flooding out. We have another Terran before us. It's going to be a TVT. It's going to be a TVT featuring a fan favorite. Someone who we do cast quite a lot on this channel. A good friend of the channel as well. It's the South Korean Terran player, HonMonO. HonMonO, papi. Let's go. Let's go. Krystianer would have gotten a... Yeah, he would have gotten a bonus as well. Yeah, I know. Regardless, GG, well played. And Krystianer letting us know that his Cybercore was delayed as well, which also led to delayed units and yeah, everything just snowballing out of control. It happens, it happens. GG. Unless Eba played his best race, Terran. Don't tempt him, Thorn. Don't tempt Eba. He'll do it. He'll play Terran. Just to make a point. And he'll die trying. Este Eba. Este Eba. But we may be seeing Baby Marine later on. I saw him earlier in the chats. Unfortunately, we have a limit, right? We have a limit to how many players we can field tonight. We're actually nearing the end of the broadcast. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket. But we have 2 best of ones left. 2 best of ones, which is a shame because like there's so many more players that we still haven't fielded, right? There's players like DeMaga, there's Kaz, there's Baby Marine, there's Cuckoo, there's Nikich. There's a lot of potential for players. But we can only pick 2 more. Only 2 more. As it looks like the players just need a moment. They need a moment for themselves. All good, all good. Oh. And, yeah, I guess we can take this moment as well. Do we have this set up? As we switch our scenes over. And, oh. Hold on. We need to scroll down, Pop. You need to scroll down. There we go. There we go. Oh. But yeah, we have had a pretty intense tournament already. A lot of matches have already taken place, and this is not the tournament. This is last week. I'll fix that. Un momento. God damn it. We have had a pretty intense tournament so far. And you know what? We can have a look at it later. It's fine. We don't need... It's fine. We have our series. We have our TBT. We're diving in. We're diving in. I'll sort it out for the end of the night. For the end of the broadcast. We can go over all the matches. As our challenger has arrived. They just needed a moment to get ready. To stretch their roaches, to hydrate the hydras, to massage their marines. They are back and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire. We have the current King of the Hill. We have the red Terran player representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the top. Oh, we're setting them out. We're clowning, Papi, we're clowning. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the South Korean Terran player. I just saw the team name. He's not on Team CranKy. He's on Clan KranKy. It is HonMonO. The last time we casted him, he was on Team CranKy. He's like, Papi, I'm on the CranKy Ducklings. Oh, no, you're not. It's not the same. I'm loving the clan team name, but he's being cheesed out. He's being proxied. We have a proxy 2-Rax on the map here from Nicoract, which is very brave. HonMonO has a reputation. HonMonO, he is the cheesiest Terran player in South Korea. He's very aggressive, especially against Protoss players, and even sometimes against Terran. But for the time being, he is in the dark as to what Nicoract is up to. Going for a double gas opener, it's going to be a Rax into a factory. First Reaper is on the way. Thankfully, it's not a Rax expand. And we'll see how quickly HonMonO can react to this. For those wondering, even if this goes unscouted, once the Reapers reveal themselves, HonMonO, he can react in time. We do see a depot on the way, so it looks like he's getting vision here in case Reapers do jump in from the right-hand side. So he is, again, preparing himself for potentially proxy 2-Rax. That's going to be coming in from the left. Likewise, it's going to come down to the reaction time here of HonMonO. He does have to pull the boys, he has to pull the SCVs to help buffer, support his Reaper, make sure things don't snowball out of control. Oh, as it looks like it was misrallied a little bit there, and we're going to have to reposition them, but there we go. We do have the Reapers moving on out. They are about to reveal themselves. CC is on the way, and it is going to be delayed. Oh, as HonMonO does have to pull back. He went for a Tech Lab first. We have a Cyclone on the way. Does have to be careful again. These SCVs have to protect the Reapers. No! First Reaper goes down. Oof, and the second Reaper goes down as well. A terrible start here for HonMonO. He has no units remaining other than SCVs. He was able to do a lot of damage to these Reapers, so he's able to buy a little bit of time, but this is snowballing out of control already. Another SCV goes down. We have a Marine to defend, but only a single Marine. But the Cyclone is going to come out, to be fair. With the arrival of the Cyclone, we should be able to hold on. Oof. HonMonO will survive, but he is forced to cancel that CC. And back at home, Nicoract is transitioning. He's got his factory on the way, his own command center being thrown down as well on location. And yeah, Nicoract is backing off. Looking at the units lost tab, Nicoract, he did get 4 SCVs and 2 Reapers for only 1 Reaper of his own. So again, a very efficient trade here from Nicoract. He was also able to cancel the CC of HonMonO as well. So HonMonO, he's got some catching up to do. He is slightly behind in the worker count. On top of that, because Nicoract has map control, he's able to get his CC on the low ground, so he's going to have faster mining here as well at that natural base. As HonMonO, he's going to be doubling down on the Cyclones, and he's going for Magfill accelerators. Alright. I mean, makes sense. May as well make use of these Cyclones. Is he going to go into mech from here? I'd be shocked if he did go into a form of battle mech, which isn't too common in TVT. There we go. Medevac is on the way. Marine production is commencing. If he does feel like he's too far behind, HonMonO, he does play mech in other matchups. He's willing to slow the game down. Don't get me wrong. As Nicoract is setting up defensively, he's already got a tank on the low ground, he's got a tank on the way on the high ground. Raven in production. And now that the medevac is out, HonMonO is going to be moving out. Oh my god. As Nicoract, he's going straight into a third CC. I mean, he knows that he has the economic advantage right now, and he's going to double down and extend that lead even further by going for a very fast third. Ball is in HonMonO's court. We have the 4 Cyclone hit squad here towards the south with Maxwell accelerators. At the same time, we have a Marine drop headed towards the main base of Nicoract as well. HonMonO going to try and pull apart his opponent. Can he pull it off? There is a tank in the main, bear that in mind. So far, good luck with the Cyclone is going to go down. A good trade already for HonMonO. He does catch the army of Nicoract. At the same time, we have that drop into the main. He wants to go for the tank, but we have Marines to reinforce. The drop is forced back. He's going to double down. What, double down? He's going to double back, I should say. He's going to rotate back around. And HonMonO, upon seeing that CC, he's got his own on the way. Is later than his opponent, but not by too much. And Nicoract does confirm that with that scan. He also confirms that Stim is on the way, so it's not mech. Oh, never mind. Stim was revealed to the scan. He cancels Stim, lifts up the racks, and throws down 2 more factories. Let's go, puppy. Let's go. HonMonO with the mind games. Oh, we're in for a long one. We may only have 3 best of 1s left, but they're gonna go the distance, papi. They're going the distance. Oh, medevac is going to be shut down. And we'll see how long it takes for Nicoract to establish his 3rd base. That's the thing, right? Like, this 3rd is still a ways off. Just because of these Cyclones, they do have quite a bit of control outside the natural. HonMonO is just containing his opponent. As Nicoract is contained, double drop. Double drop is being sent across the map, but quite a hefty drop as well with 2 tanks each. Oh, sorry, with 1 tank each. 2 tanks in total. Cyclones are not back at home. We don't really have much to defend. Oh, as the lock-ons are baited out, 2 Cyclones go down. Looking at the units tab here. Oh, we have Vikings. Good disable on the medevac. There were Marines within it. Well, HonMonO is forced to pick up that CC. Up. Oof. Good pickups here. HonMonO takes down both medevacs. Likewise, the Cyclones are able to snipe that Raven as it was moving out, but Nicoract does have quite a large army. He's able to clean up those stray Marines as well. The goal here, I think, for Nicoract is just to contain his opponent. He's getting his own 3rd base up and running. It's getting fully saturated. Denying the 3rd of HonMonO is all he has to do. So far, he's doing a great job at doing so. He doesn't want to overcommit. You see him just looking for a better angle, trying to fake out his opponent. Yeah, he's going to get within range of at least those SCVs. Oof. Unfortunate miss rally from HonMonO. Is going to be losing 5 SCVs, 6 even. Oh no, 7. 7 SCVs go down. A bold move here by Nicoract as well. He actually only keeps a couple of Marines in position. Meanwhile, he's rotating around with the rest of his tanks. Oof. As he loses another medevac. Looks like he wants to maybe try to collapse on this army, but does think better of it. As he actually just checks the gold. He was very paranoid about the gold base. As he does turn back around. HonMonO are going to try and establish this southern base instead, but Nicoract is in position. Doing a great job at containing HonMonO here to just 2 bases. Oh no, okay. I thought the SCVs were being pulled again. And yeah, behind this, a 4th CC is on the way. Nicoract just getting further and further ahead. HonMonO, though, at some point is going to be able to collapse on one of these armies. He should be able to. Especially with map control, like, there's nothing stopping HonMonO from going into Liberator production. That's what I'm really waiting for. I'm surprised to see no Liberators yet. considering just how many Vikings he has. He has 10 Vikings to the 2 of Nicoract. So tank is going to go down. Vikings once again taking down what few Vikings that Nicoract has. At the same time, we do see him dive into the main. It takes down the tank, takes down the center tower as well. This was an ambitious move. Does trade relatively well, but he's going to be losing a lot. At the same time, Nicoract, he dives on the exposed tanks. This makes it well worth it here for our Red Terran. He wants a little bit more. He wants the last 2 tanks up, and he's going to get them. He's going to lose everything for it, but once again, good target firing. Almost gets a last tank towards the end. Oh, he wants it. And looking at the units lost tab here, HonMonO, he loses 9 tanks to the 7 of Nicoract. And even though like the armies do trade out, Nicoract has a better economy. His third base has been mining this entire time. He can replace what he has lost. HonMonO, not so much. 4th base is on the way. HonMonO does have a 4th CC as well that he could try and land. He could try and double expand. But as HonMonO takes his 3rd, we have another double drop into the main. Liberators have finally arrived, but one of them gets focused down. As HonMonO is being pulled apart. Again, this is the advantage of a bio army. It's so much more maneuverable, so much more flexible. HonMonO, he just wants to mine from his 3rd base, and it's not going to happen. Every single SCV goes down. The drop in the main base still has not been dealt with. The Vikings overextend. As they eventually clean this up, 26 SCVs go down. And I know that mech is a more efficient army, and it's, you know, it does in general just trade more efficiently than a Bioforce. Sure, that's true. HonMonO, he's got a lot to recover. And no, the base! It's gonna be hunted down. The SCVs as well. 8 more workers. And the orbital. HonMonO, he just wants a 3rd. That's all he wants. GG gets called. It's too much. And Nicoract will take down the most honorable of monorables. GG. GG, well played. I should message. I need to message HonMonO. I'm like, who is CranKy? Ay. CranKy Duckling. He's a good friend of the channel. Good friend. Has a soft spot in my heart for HonMonO. Soft spot. Most honorable of monorables. As we have 2 best of 1s left, and we're gonna be heading over. Send him a little hard. We're gonna be heading over to the land of Europe for our next opponent. The TVTs have concluded. We have a TVZ coming up next, and it's gonna be a player that I mentioned earlier. I have brought him up before during the cast. Did notice him in the waiting room. And I'm unfamiliar with his team. Hold on. Just want to make sure I get it right. Okay, we're good. We are just setting up. I was hoping for my breva in a European TVT. I mean, there's still one more slot after this. Still one more. But it is going to be the European Zerg player from Belarus. It is... Oh, that's... My keyboard just got unplugged. It is going to be Nikich. Nikich, Papi. And we don't get to see enough of Nikich, to be honest. He's a pretty good player, not gonna lie. Pretty powerful opponent. But we don't have the luxury of casting him too much or too often on this channel. Again, he's more prevalent in the CIS kind of regional tournaments or ES11 Cup Europe, which we don't really get to cover. So I'm happy. I'm happy whenever we get to see him. Always, always. And here we go. 2 best of 1s remaining. 2 challengers remaining, and one of them is a Zerg. Here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the current King of the Hill with 2 wins under his belt. Representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player from Belarus representing Team Platoon. It is Nikich. Oh boy. Here we go. Now, Nicoract has been very aggressive so far. He proxied against Krystianer. He also proxied against HonMonO. But here in this TVZ, we have a much more standard opener. There's no SCVs out on the map, and the first Rax is back at home. We're getting a standard opener. We're getting some macro, Papi, some macro. Let's go. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. As Nikich is going for a hatch gas pool, very economic opener here out of our Zerg player. Likewise, Nicoract setting up for his own Rax expand as well. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the norm this time. Nothing this time. As yeah, we're going to be settling down, and again, I would appreciate a more macro-oriented ZVT. We did see one earlier today, to be fair, when we casted Wayne versus Spirit in a very, very intense Zerg versus Terran matchup on Gressman. This does have a lot to live up to. Catching him with the chat, Nicoract doesn't macro. I'm fully aware. Fully aware. We have seen Nicoract go for 2 base all-ins against Zerg very often. That's why I specifically said the openers are standard, because we have seen quite a lot of Nicoract on this channel, and he's a very aggressive player, which I appreciate. Even if he doesn't proxy his initial Raxes, even against Protoss, we have seen a lot of 2 base all-ins as well. But here we go. The first Reaper does make its way across the map. He's going to be dancing with the Lings of Nikich. He is looking for a drone. It looks like he will find one. Very nicely done here by Nicoract, getting 1 drone already. It may not sound like a lot, but honestly, at this, especially this early on in the game, 1 drone means so much. A Ling does fall as well. He wants that tumor. He's being so greedy. Doesn't get the tumor, but he does get a second Ling, as the Reaper barely escapes, 1 hit away from going down. Very fancy moves out of Nicoract, as he will back off. Back at home, we were talking about aggression. That's what we're getting. There is no third CC. He's going for a 1-1-1 opener, delaying his third by quite a bit here in favor of that starport. We'll see what we work towards. There is no tech lab, so no add-on switch. Are we going to be going for a Viking first? I am curious. It looks like, yep, it's going to be BCs. A BC opener here from Nicoract. Battle cruisers are on the way. That is why we don't have an add-on swap. At the same time, the Hellions, they run past the Queens. Nikich actually hasn't been making Queens. He only has 3, and he's being punished for it. 4 drones go down. The workers are lining up. Nicoract already fighting so much damage, and he's going to find some more. Nick is being punished here for delaying his queen production. 8 drones go down already, just far too much. And we're not done. We still have some more Hellions, but they're going to have a hard time diving in. They're going to be forced back. And Nikich is still in the dark. He, again, upon seeing the Hellions, he's aware of at least the factory behind this. He's aware of the 111. Or at least, again, it could still be a 3rd CC. He's not quite aware of the timing of the starport. As the Overlord hasn't gone into the main base, continued Hellion production here is revealed. That's only a piece of the puzzle, as Nikich is going for a fast lair. A standard lair timing, I should say. At around the 4 minute 30, 4 minute 40 mark. But he hasn't gone into the main. The first battle cruiser's on the way. We have a second starport. It is 2-port BC, most likely into mech from here. Especially with a mass amount of Hellions. Nicoract, you're an animal. Ay, ay, ay. And Nikich is none the wiser. He's going to be cancelling his Bailey Nest, going for a Roach Warren. Upon seeing the mass amount of Hellions, that is enough of a tell that it is not standard play. The BC teleports right on top of the Queens. Lings are being roasted. The Queens are going down. Again, there just weren't that many Queens to begin with. Nikich just cutting the Queen production is going to be punished once again. The Lings go down. The Queens are falling. And this is only with 1 BC. We have more on the way. To have more in production. The Hellions are being cleaned up. For the most part. Battlecruiser being a little bit adventurous is just barely going to get 1 more Queen before being pushed away. Uh-oh. The BC could go down. Up, up. One of us. One of us. Ah, it's so close. 4 HP, 1 shot away from going down. The battlecruiser survives. Scan does get eyes on the Spire. He knows where it is. The Spire is only halfway done. If he wanted to, he could try and teleport in and focus down that Spire. Second Spore is on the way. Nikich, he's reading that. He's aware of how vulnerable that Spire is. But it looks like it should finish. Nicoract getting his 3rd on location. This is a very late 3rd. To be fair, even though Nicoract has done a lot of damage, as he goes for another scan, even though Nicoract has done a lot of damage, he has a very delayed 3rd. He has delayed tech. There's no blue flame. There's no mag field. There's no tank production. Just pure BCs and Yamato. With enough corruptors, Nikich can still fight back against this. The problem is that his worker count is still really low. His queen count was reset. He only has 4 queens. Because he only has 4 queens, he's still spending a lot of energy injecting, which means he won't have a lot left over to transfuse against the battlecruisers. Nikich is still trying to recover, and Nicoract, I would say, is still ahead. Still in a commanding position. 3rd base about to finish up. We have 4 oh my, that's 4 factories are on the way. That's a lot of factories, Papi. It's a lot of factories. Yamato is still not done. We are diving on the Queens. 1 transfuse is all they had. As almost every Queen goes down. At the same time, we do have a Roach counterattack, getting quite a lot of SCVs. But it's an expensive trade. 6 SCVs for 3 Roaches. The Hellions, they dive back in. The Roaches are out of position. And this is snowballing out of control. The drones, they come back too soon. No. As the Corruptors attempt to hunt down the BCs, but we have SCVs to repair. The battlecruisers do survive. 8 more workers did go down, thankfully, but again, Nikich needs more than that. Good movement. He's able to catch some of these Hellions. But Nicoract, he's really powering up from this point. We have Blue Flame and Magville accelerators on the way. We're working on Cyclone production. It's no longer just about the battlecruisers. They've done their job. as Nicoract is looking to deny a fourth that doesn't exist. And he's gonna have to be careful. He should be able to teleport back home. Was ready for that. Does land with 4 of those Yamatos. And Nicoract doesn't lose much of anything. And yeah, from here, there's not really much that Nicoract is really concerned with. Nikich hasn't been able to establish a 4th base. He hasn't attempted to, which has been a little bit surprising to me. But again, Nikich just doesn't have a lot of money to work with, period. Because he's been losing so many workers to these Hellion run-bys. It's just so difficult to bounce back when you're behind against mech. It's such an efficient army composition, and ideally, the Zerg player is up in bases. I mean, generally, they're supposed to be up in bases, up in workers, and it's something that Nikich doesn't have working his way. Nicoract, he hasn't reset his teleports, so he has to be careful. He's going to be losing his battlecruisers. He doesn't have teleports available. Nicoract coming in too soon. He is going to throw them away. Ay, ay, ay. A good moment for Nikich, definitely. The beginning of a comeback. Still the beginning, though. Like, we still have a ways to go. That was a big mistake, though, from Nicoract to come in without a teleport available. He only saves 1 of the battlecruisers, and it's going to be hunted down. But as I mentioned earlier, the BCs, they already did their job. It isn't about them anymore. It's just about the Cyclones, the Hellions. Corruptors are going to try and caustic spray down this base, and can they get it up? Up! Oh, no, they cannot. Oof. A big investment there for Nikich, and it doesn't pay off. The base survives. The Corruptors go down. Nikich is in position to try and take down another one of these bases. Oh, he does unburrow on top of the Cyclones. Not a bad fight for Nikich, and that's a kill on that planetary. And another good moment. As long as you don't lose too many workers, then I mean, we're still not okay, but you know, it's better than not. As the Hellions, they get in. Oh, Roach is not quite in position. More drones are going down. Nikich, he was making some magic happen, slowly but surely. But 10 more workers go down. Nikich's economy is still crippled. It's still almost non-existent. Almost at half the worker count of Nicoract. And here comes that Cyclone army. Oh, with every lock-on, a Roach is falling. Oof. Now, Nikich is going for a massive counterattack with these Burrowed Roaches. There's a lot of potential. If only he didn't have to deal with this army. Right, the problem is that I don't think he can handle all these Cyclones. He's going to be losing everything here. Nicoract, he knows that. He dies on top of the army. And the base will soon fall. Across the map, the Roaches are taking down the mineral line. Which, again, would have been nice if Nicoract wasn't just snowballing out of control. This is too little too late. 27 SCVs go down. But Nicoract has broken the natural. He's camping the production. On top of the Overlords, we could see a massive supply block momentarily as well. As Nikich is coming back home. And he is going to be able to collapse on these Cyclones. To be fair. He is harassing across the map, but Nikich is running out of steam. It was a good effort. I do applaud him for his efforts, definitely. He made this closer than it otherwise should have been. GG gets called, and Nicoract will take down Nikich 1-0 and hold on to his crown even longer. GG. GG, well played. It wasn't a planetary, it was a morphing in planetary. I should have said a morphing in planetary. GG, well played. Nicoract does take down Nikich, and now there's one player left, one challenger remaining. Let's go. Uno más, papi, uno más. Again, Nicoract just making a couple of mistakes that game, throwing away the BCs. Of course, losing that CC as well. There were good moments for Nikich, but unfortunately, it just goes to show how far behind he was. Despite attempting to capitalize on these mistakes from his opponent, it just wasn't enough to bring him back in that game, unfortunately. And yeah, now we have one best of one remaining. Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? Who do we have? Checking in game. Checking in game. Oh, I see a laser online. See Gung Fu Banda. Not too sure if they're OSC Elite members. Oh. Oh, let's go. We are going to be ending the night over in the land of the Americas. You do love to see it. It's not a Korean Terran, but it is a Terran player living in the land of South Korea. It is going to be the Mexican Terran, Juanito. Juanito, papi. Let's go. SpeCial has arrived, and this is an interesting matchup. Ex-teammates. Ex-teammates are going to be facing off. SpeCial, of course, is, or he was on Psystorm Gaming for quite some time. Has since left Psystorm as of the end of WTL. Around that. But yeah, SpeCial is no longer on Psystorm. Nicoract is. So some old teammates are going to be facing off. SpeCial, of course, still looking for a team, still looking for supports. I was talking earlier about Abydos and the disbandment of Abydos. Likewise, there are some kind of roster shifts happening at the moment, especially with WTL ending and the next season of WTL on the horizon as well. Oh, never mind. I assumed SpeCial was still in Korea, but no, we have an update. SpeCial is actually back in Mexico right now. He's in Mexico, papi. He's in Mexico. It's nice to hear. Nice to hear. Currently back with his family. Oh, here we go. The last best of one of the night. Is Nicoract going to be able to end it here as the king of OSC King of the Hill number 145? Or will SpeCial strip that away from him? I mean, SpeCial is a pretty terrifying opponent. He's one of the best that North America has to offer. He is not going to go down easily. Not at all. Here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner. In the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the red Terran player, the current King of the Hill with 3 wins under his belt. Representing Psystorm Gaming, it is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Mexican Terran player living in the land of Mexico at the moment. He is back in his home country, representing himself, the challenger, the would-be usurper. It is SpeCial. Here we go. We've already casted a couple of TVTs tonight, and by a couple I do mean one. I do mean one. This time, Nicoract is going to be keeping his SCVs back at home, is going for a double gas opener. Likewise, so is SpeCial. Also going for that double gas opener as well. So no economic openers here from either one of our players. With the additional gases, we're going to be able to get into faster factories. Going to be a little bit more aggressive. I say aggressive. Terran players would say safer. True, true. As SCVs are coming in for a scout, the wall, not quite a wall, as SpeCial here flirts with the idea of dipping in, does pull back. Nicoract goes into the main, gets eyes on the faster factory, on, of course, the gases. Nicoract will go back home. So very mirrored builds, very mirrored openers from both of our players. Again, I mentioned before they are teammates. I don't know how often they played with each other at all. Obviously, they played with each other, alongside each other, I should say, in team leagues. But I'm not too sure how familiar they are when it comes to practice. As nowadays, that comes down to friend groups, or more often than not, than teammates. I mean, often they come hand in hand, I guess, to be fair. As Reapers are going to swat each other away. SpeCial getting a CC on location, likewise, so is Nicoract. As they're getting into their Hellion production, as well as their Reapers. Again, the biggest difference here is that Nicoract will have an abundance in Reapers because he did go for a reactor after his initial unit. So he will have a little bit more to work with. Of course, SpeCial is going to have to respect that. Is staying at home, being a little bit more defensive, working on his Widow Mine, working on said starport as well. Both players are, I should say. And yeah, the openings are going to be a little bit more chill, a little bit more calm. I don't expect SpeCial to move out quite yet. Again, he doesn't really know what his opponent is up to. Because that he doesn't really know how many Reapers he's going to be walking into. It's always very dangerous to move out here in TVT, especially if you don't go for a very aggressive opener, because you could be caught out and things can snowball very quickly out of control. So SpeCial is going to be staying back at home, hiding that Widow Mine under his units. Love to see it. As he does now begin to move out. Cyclones are on the way again. Very solid units in the early game. We don't really see too many of them made, but they're great against things like Banshees, Ravens, drop play. As Nicoract is going to be moving out. There is a Widow Mine up, and he doesn't quite split against it. Reaper goes down. A bit of splash damage on the additional Reapers of Nicoract as well. SpeCial is pushing on through. The Cyclone is looking very exposed. And Nicoract, he dives on it. Up. Won't quite get that Cyclone. SpeCial, he will defend. Bit of a chaotic fight. In the end, Nicoract coming out worse for wear. Does lose a little bit of extra gas in the end. Against SpeCial, and SpeCial holds onto his Cyclone. If the Cyclone had fallen, then of course things can escalate very quickly. But the Cyclone survived. SpeCial does hold. From here, he's getting into Tank Raven. And let's go. SpeCial doesn't go for his signature second starport build into his 2-base all-in. He's quite fond of it, and he does it very often in best of series. But here in a best of one, instead of going for the second starport, he throws down a third CC. Gets 3 SCVs across the map. Raven still alive, of course, behind the main. And yeah, we're getting into a pretty standard setup. Other than, of course, the fast third base. Nicoract on the other side doesn't quite have one. Just focusing on his army production for the time being. Which again is normal in TVT. Faster thirds, less so. SpeCial is moving out. Does get a lockout on the Hellion, but does pay the price for it. Takes a big tank shot to the face. And again, the goal here for SpeCial is just to contain his opponent. Delay the third base if possible. Just try to get a little bit of value here and there, while SpeCial expands himself. He's going to be quite threatening here. Does push on forward, but so many auto turrets are thrown down, and SpeCial has to get the hell out of here. A bit of an overreaction out of Nicoract. That was a lot of energy spent on these auto turrets, and he wasn't able to get quite a lot for it. SpeCial keeps all of his tanks alive. Again, it looks like Nicoract was expecting a commitment to a fight there from SpeCial. He just backed off. Behind this, Nicoract is working on his own CC. Stim on the way. Buy a tank versus buy a tank. Oh. Viking goes down. And we have enough energy for disables. We are diving on in. Not quite disables, going for auto turrets instead. Ravens are kept alive. 2 tanks go down. A good trade for Nicoract. Can he get another tank? Oh, he will. Oh, he tries to. Good move out of SpeCial to target down that Cyclone just before he loses his tank. But again, the goal there for SpeCial was just a trade, just to be a nuisance to his opponent. To actually get his third up and running. We can see, despite the fact that Nicoract has a later base, he's going to be able to saturate a little bit faster. Nicoract also has the Raven lead, throws down another wave of auto turrets. Does get a disable on that tank. He does siege, and he just collapses on this army. SpeCial loses almost everything. 1 Viking, 1 tank survives. Nicoract looking to bulldoze through. Oh, it does take some tank shots to the face. Oof. But again, he is breaking on through. Will lose his Raven in the process. At the same time, Liberator is harassing. Gets 9 SCVs, not too bad. But Nicoract, he is threatening the natural. E-base are going to go down. Boys have to be pulled. Do we land the Vikings? Up! Not quite fast enough. The Vikings are not landed. The tanks are going down. And SpeCial holds. He does save those E-bays. And both players are kind of hurting. Even though 10 SCVs went down, Nicoract was also losing, of course, 9 SCVs to that 1 Liberator. Liberator is still alive. Still looking for more damage. Vikings are trying to hunt it down, but are out of position. Again, the worker counts are pretty comparable. Looking at the units tab, Nicoract does have a tank lead, just barely. He obviously has the Viking lead as well. But SpeCial is about to hit with 1-1. The Marines, they just dive into the natural. They take down the tank. It's going to be a one-way trip, but these Marines, they annihilate the Marines of Nicoract as well. An efficient trade. Six workers. The Marines are still alive. Oh my god. The Marines are still alive, by the way. They're getting even more SCVs here at the natural. Oof. $11 kills between the 2 of them. Ay. And SpeCial is not done. Despite how aggressive Nicoract was, it's now SpeCial's turn to be the aggressor. We have Marines rallying in between the bases. We do have a double job looking to go into the main. There are Vikings in position. The scan does reveal that. So he heads towards the 3rd instead. Oh, he bypasses the Vikings entirely. Oh, Vikings are going to go down. And SpeCial just out-controlling Nicoract here. He's going to get cleaned up. At the same time, those Marines, they just walk into the natural. Oh, it does feel like Nicoract is being pulled apart. The drop play, the aggression here of SpeCial, it's just becoming a bit too much. Oof. Even snipes more Vikings. Behind this, 4th base is on the way, on location. SpeCial does have a worker lead. Does, of course, have those upgrades. He drops again into the main. No turrets, no Vikings were there in position. And he's going for the factory. And he's going to get it. The factory goes down. A massive pick off here for SpeCial. Slowing down the tank production quite a bit. Now, despite everything that SpeCial has done, Nicoract can still come back in this game. TVT is very positionally oriented. Like, there's so much emphasis on positional play, I should say. At any moment, SpeCial tries to go for a drop and loses his medevacs to Vikings, or Nicoract is the first to siege. He can still take a fight, but he is falling behind. Oh, as we're gonna stim on forward? An ill-advised move from Nicoract takes a lot of tank volleys to the face. I think he thought everything may have unsieged, but that's just too much. GG gets called. And SpeCial will take down Nicoract 1-0. The king is dead. All hail the final king of the hill for this weekly tournament. It is SpeCial. GG. GG, well played. SpeCial will take down Nicoract 1-0. Was a close one, though. There were definitely moments where Nicoract had momentum, where he had certain advantages. Likewise, there were also moments for SpeCial as well. It did go back and forth. Nicoract, he is a bit of a TVT sniper, and he didn't look bad. He did not look bad at all against SpeCial, but wasn't able to close it out, and SpeCial bounced back very hard with the mass drop play, the multi-prong harassment with the aggression. It was too much for Nicoract to handle. And GG. GG. Very well done by SpeCial. Oh, but not a bad run at all for Nicoract, right? Like, he had a pretty impressive performance tonight. Got a lot of wins under his belt. I'm sure he's not too upset with his performance. As we can take this moment to catch up with the bracket itself. Oh. Hold on, I'll do my best. Can we refresh? Huh. I'm trying to set this up. I'm attempting to, but for some reason I can't quite do it. Because exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourself. Ooh, as we had quite a lot of matches going on. Hold on, I've got a better solution to this. I'll fix this next time. I'll get around to it. Bam. There we go, as we do just zoom on in. Oh. There we go. And yeah, we did have quite a lot of matches going on here. It started off with MaNa. MaNa had a pretty impressive run early on, taking down Eba in a very close series. NightPhoenix also in a very close series as well. So MaNa just showing off, of course, that he can go toe-to-toe with the young blood in the scene. Did eventually get brought down by Wayne in that fourth match. And then Wayne started his reign of terror. Even though MaNa got 3 wins in a row, Wayne, he was able to overcome that quite a bit by getting 7 wins in a row, taking down a lot of big names, even players like Spirit. Very impressive result by Wayne to bring down Spirit and so many other players as well. Eventually, he was stopped. Not by a Zerg, not by a Terran, but by a Protoss. Krystianer came out of nowhere, and he brought down Wayne, ended that insane win streak. Unfortunately, Krystianer, he wasn't able to have too much of a win streak of his own. He had a really impressive result by bringing down Wayne and stopping all of that. But, you know, it was a very short-lived celebration for Krystianer, because Nicoract, that is when he came out strong and was able to bring down Krystianer, Nikich, and HonMonO. Then, of course, SpeCial at the end of the night. GG. GG, well played. Again, if you're wondering how this works, it all comes down to how many maps you win. Every win gives you some more prize money, and if you go on a long enough win streak, you get a bonus. You do get a bonus, or a bonus if you get brought down, I should say. So yeah, a great night of StarCraft. This wasn't the only cast either. We were casting Home Story Cup earlier today as well. This was our second broadcast, and it's getting quite late. It's 2:30 in the morning. Been a long day of StarCraft, and we have more ahead of us. If you enjoyed the tournament, if you enjoyed the cast, then our next cast, our next cast is going to be tomorrow. We casted half of Home Story Cup Group B today, and we're doing the other half tomorrow. So in less than 24 hours, if you are interested, if you maybe missed out on Home Story Cup live, and if you want to tune into the group stage, we are covering those replays on this channel tomorrow. So yeah, you can tune in if you wish. Otherwise, we have some other big events happening over the weekend. There's going to be KSL, there's going to be Grand Platypus Open, and the Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. So plenty of weekly tournaments are over the weekend. We're going to be bringing you as many of them as we can. So yeah, and also, if you enjoyed this tournament, if you enjoyed OSC King of the Hill, then you can, of course, tune in next week. This is a weekly tournament. Sometimes it's on this channel, sometimes it's over on Wardy's channel instead. Does depend on who is available at the time. So yeah, much love to Wardy, as he's also the other caster for this tournament, and sometimes some other community casters are covering these events as well. So plenty of StarCraft out there, plenty of StarCraft going on. And yeah, with that, thank you so much. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Our cast for tonight is over. If you want to tune into more of myself, I do stream over on my own personal channel, light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. You can follow me there if you're interested. I do stream some Zerg ladder gameplay, but I'm gonna go get some food. I'm starving. It's 2:30 a.m. and I haven't had dinner, so I'm gonna go get something to eat. Oh. And maybe get some rest as well. But you can follow me there if you're interested. Otherwise, if you're only interested in the CranKy Ducklings, follow the Ducklings. Follow the Ducklings all over the place. ! Socials in the chat for links to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a Discord server, we have a YouTube channel, we have a Patreon, we have it all. We don't have TikTok. One day. One day, Papi, one day. So yeah, if you're interested, you can follow us. We do post whenever we go live, so you'll be notified for when we do broadcast one of our tournaments. We're live every day on a daily basis. First time here. Nice. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you had a good time. We're actually live every single day with plenty of StarCraft. Sometimes multiple times a day. Like today, we had 2 broadcasts. So plenty of StarCraft to be had. Plenty of VODs on our channel as well. I think we have like over 4,000, like 5,000 matches on our YouTube. We've been casting for a long time. We've been casting for a very long time, and yeah, it's all there if you're interested over on YouTube. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. We're going to be heading off for the night. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Not too sure who, but there's plenty of other people out there. There's Skills is streaming, Ender is streaming. Yeah, we'll give someone a raid. Give them a chance. Give them some support. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for some more Home Story Cup replays. Until then, hasta luego. Adios. Ciao.